Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to TheoryCraft episode 36. Yeah, a little bit of a reschedule, eh? A little bit of a reschedule. But that's it's Saturday. Excellent. Couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier. Gonna watch some replays. Then I'm gonna play some games myself, not on this stream. I'm gonna play later, but I'm excited. I'm looking forward to watching these games today. I'm looking forward to playing some ladder later myself. I'm just chilling the whole day. I'm just chilling the whole day. I could spend all day on this stream if I wanted. This could be a 12-hour long stream. This could be a 12-hour long stream. And who's gonna get mad at me? There's nothing today on this channel. There's nothing at all. We can delay. We could talk. We could watch some YouTube videos. No one cares. No one cares. We could go all day here. We can go all day. But with that being said, we do have a structure for today because this is a professional channel after all. We do have a structure. Today's episode. Well, let's start with last week's episode. Last week's episode was CORSAIR against Night Elf. Is that right? Orc Day? Which I've actually come to kind of like that strat. I kind of like it. And it's one of those things. Hey, Pungent Stink. Thank you for the 17 months. Nice one. Had to double take that name. Solid. The show has always been something that has been nice because there's these things in the back of my head that I'm like, oh, I don't understand this strategy. You know, like in the past it would be like, oh, how does Undead beat Mass Fairy Dragons or whatever? You know, like how does this particular matchup work? You know, how do you actually macro as a human player against Night Elf and 2-base, right? And playing Farseer, even though I'm an Orc player, playing Farseer against Night Elf was something that I had no idea about. Not a single clue. But with last week's episode, I have at least a slightly better idea of a simple way to play it. And now when I watch it, I almost enjoy seeing it more because I'm like, oh, what are they going to do different from my framework of understanding in terms of that strategy? And it's kind of cool. Kind of like that. And that's what I hope to do more of in the future with episodes. Like, you know, let's just figure this out. This thing I have absolutely no idea about. Because the show almost started as like, here's stuff that I know for sure. This is stuff I know and is concrete and I can tell you guys and I know this is right and I can say it with authority. But there's only so much stuff that I actually know myself until I run out and until I'm just guessing. So, you know, why not just figure some shit out together, right? So that's what I'm going to hope to do in the future a little bit. Just learn a little more, you know, on the fly. But for today, I will speak from authority, right? Because I am your guru for today, okay? I am your guru. I have 6 wives, 5 children, and a whole lot of cash. Millions. And you're all in huts. And you have to listen to my every word. Because today is community replay review for November. Gurus don't get married. They only get married to multiple women at the same time. And they all previously had husbands that are also following in your footsteps. Weird how that works, right? Weird how that works. Yeah, today we're going to watch your guys' replays and we're going to talk about them. And, you know, these... Today's episode will be like my sort of first look at these games. I zoom through them sometimes to make sure that they're, you know, they're gonna kind of work. But what, AKM? What? You're the master of gurus. You're the master of gurus. Everyone follows in the Blood Mage's footsteps. Yeah, so we're just gonna kind of take a first peek at some replays that were submitted by the community from all MMR ranges. I think today's replays are from like 1,000 MMR. To maybe about 1,600 within that sort of range. And that's sort of a good range to be able to just first look at things and be like, okay, there's 10 things you can improve on. Because until you get to like the 1,900 2K MMR, I feel like, which is above where I am personally as well, there's always lots of things to improve. There's always lots of things. So that's what we're going to do today. Your wife to kids ratio is off. It should be at least 3 kids to 1 wife. Yeah, I said 5, and then I was gonna double back, but I'm like, that wouldn't work for the timing of the joke. You see, but I was gonna double back and be like, 14 children. You see? What did I say, Dondo? What did I say? I said up to like 2,000, it's pretty easy to spot mistakes. For people. Honestly, it's easy to spot mistakes in like tier 2 pros. if I'm being totally honest with you guys. There's I watch some really high level players. I'm like, yeah, yikes. Sometimes, you know. Wraith, are you open to ideas regarding Warcraft 3 off topic of today's stream, by the way? Depends what it would be. Hit me up. Oh, good night, Stefan. I want my Crypt Lord to fast Expo and Echo Isles to become meta. You know, it was for a long time. It was for a long time. Oh, by the way, Dondo, how did your was it GNL match go? You're in GNL? Was it GNL? You had a match that was just on 1-2 stream. How did that go? Did you win? 1-2-1? Nice, nice. You were against a Night Elf? Was it Night Elf? Did you own him? Did you own him? Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Tell me about your strategy. What did you do? What's up, Wall Street guy? Good to see you as well. What did you do? What did you do in game 1? What did you do in game 1, Dondo? Should have won 2-0. Well, if you won 2-1, you definitely could have won 2-0. Autumn Leaves. Okay, it was Autumn Leaves. Let's paint a picture of this game in our head, guys. Was it versus Night Elf? Did you play versus Night Elf? All right. Well, while he's typing that out, what's up, Natural Warren? I expect a full report of your match. Straight Expo, left 3 footies behind after creeping AM, goes straight to his Keeper of the Grove. Yep. Good. Yeah. Makes sense. Try to deny entangle, level 2. Kept pressure, got 3 or 4. Denies. Solid. Pretty solid game. I assume trying to deny his level 2 means that he crept green and he was trying to creep his Expo or something. And you obviously crept your natural Expo. Expo's up, creep it to 3 with Militia. Right, right. The little poacher guy. Purge guy. Yeah, makes sense. Wait, you lost this game? I think Expo first is a good way to do it. But honestly, that Moon thing, I want to do a whole episode on this. There's so much from War 3 Champions. That Moon thing where Moon went Demon Hunter and just ran at Colorful, or not Colorful, obviously, ran at Fortitude the whole time. That was super sick. That was super sick. What's up, Duoned? Oh, you didn't lose this game because I just asked what game 1 was, right? Yeah. So you just owned him. You just kind of owned him. That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. And next week's episode, everybody, will be on Thursday again, most likely. So the 18th. So 5 days from now. And that'll be Night Elf Day? Will it be? Is that what next week is? I gotta figure this out. Let's see. This is gonna play. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so that's human, orc, elf. Ah. It'll be undead. It'll be undead day. Oh joy. Let's see if we can find any replays for that. It'll be undead day. Lost of Concealed Hill. Concealed Hill is could be a tough map sometimes. Yeah, so it'll be Undead Day next week. Don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. Where are the undead replays at? Please, somebody help me. Where are they? Where are they? 120, give me your replays, please. Oh, there actually is some 120 replays. There's a couple of them. There's a whole best of 3 of 120. But it's a matchup I've already covered. How fun. So I'm going to be figuring that out. But that'll be next week. We'll do something for Undead. I was going to say time for Undead again. Yeah. Yeah, and today's replays. We have, what do we have? We have 2 Night Elf replays, 2 Undead replays, and an Orc replay. So sorry, Dondo. No human games today. No human games. So we paid a little bit of attention to the humans via text and talking about it, but not actually looking at any replays. But no human games. But I feel like we've had one of these episodes that was all human games, if memory serves. So this is actually a decent spread, all things considered. 5 replays, 3 races. And replay number 1 is from ShezzVR. ShezzVR. These were, because we didn't do one of these episodes last month, so these were sort of spread out amongst. So I don't actually know what the order should have been, but yeah, from ShezzVR is the first replay. And if you'd like to submit a replay for next month, December, the Christmas special, you can do it at Carson at backtowarcraft.com, or you can go discord.backtowarcraft.com, and then you can join the TheoryCraft channel. Woo! And that's where you can submit replays. Those 2 ways. They're both good. They both work. I see everything. You can also ask me questions. Email I'm probably less likely to answer because I don't check the email too often, but if you're in the Discord, I'll be checking that like 60 times a day because I have no life. So if you have a question for me about the show or something else, you can just put it in the TheoryCraft channel in the Discord. I'll get back to you. Easy peasy, right? If you have time, you do one of the replays at the end. Sure. Yeah, Discord DM me, man. I'll throw it at the end. Little bonus replay. Like I said, I got all day. You think players should start playing with over 80 population versus races which are found to be stronger than their own? I think people are more and more commonly going to 100 supply nowadays because macro games are so common. Because Undead can finally fast expo. Orc plays often around the tiny Great Hall. Like for instance versus Undead in a lot of cases. Versus Night Elf and Human, it's always the tier 2 expo, or against Night Elf sometimes tiny expo. So Orc is playing a lot more macro based, and Night Elf and Human have always played macro based. So more often do we see 100 supply fights, but I think it's less about needing to do it to combat the strength of your opponent's race, and more so just I can go 100. My opponent's probably going to go 100 as well. Let's do it and let's take a fight. Foggy got lucky last weekend, even though he won a lot more games. Oh, the Foggy vs. Moon series. We'll probably be covering that for Night Elf Day. We'll probably do that series for Night Elf Day. So, which is War 3 Champions, Foggy vs. Moon. They did 2 best of 5s. That's a ton of tape to study. That's a lot. And he played Laliat in a best of 3. I think Moon played another best of 3 in Night Elf Mirror. So there's a lot to watch from that tournament. So that'll probably be Night Elf Day. For Undead Day, of course, there was only 1 Undead in the tournament, and they only played 2 games. So no replays there to speak of. 2 best of 5s. Yeah, Foggy and Moon played 2 full best of 5s. Yeah, and then once we have Stockholm, we're going to have a ton of replays there as well. Jesus. Why second one? It was double elimination. There was a lower bracket and an upper bracket. Okay. Let's jump into today's episode. So 5 replays. Dondo can send me a 6th, and we can do that at the very end. And then we'll have a full mixture of races. So I'll normally try to tell you what the MMR of the players is, because that's a really common question that I get during these episodes. What is their MMR, you know? But I don't know for this first one. For the rest of them, I figured it out. But for this one, I don't know, because it's actually a BattleNet game, and he didn't tell me his MMR. But this is, oh, not Shev, it's ShezzVR. who's a Night Elf player. He'll be playing against a human on Last Refuge. He said in the Discord, he said, I feel like you'll get a lot of entertainment from this one, just over 15 minutes long, and the micro is pretty satisfying. Would love to know what you think it could improve. All right. So Night Elf versus human on Last Refuge. What's the first thing that comes to mind, guys, when you think Night Elf versus human on Last Refuge? What's the first thing that comes to mind, given, you know, the pro meta currently? Given the pro meta, does anything come to mind at all? Because something really pops out to me, and every time I cast, I bring it up on Last Refuge. Anything. What's up, Gradient to Pro? How you doing, man? Human fast expo, for sure. We could definitely see a fast expo from our human opponent here. But what about from the Night Elf side of things? Against human on Last Refuge. Anyone. Dondo, very good. Beastmaster. Mercs and Beastmaster. Yeah, so often do we see Tavern Heroes on this map more than any other map. We've been seeing some more Panda first on things like Northern Isles, and we've even seen it on Last Refuge, I think, during Next. I think we saw it on Northern Isles and Last Refuge. But that Tavern Hero, very common. Beastmaster is the most standard way at the top pro level to play, because Keeper can at times be a little bit underwhelming. Just because you can't really creep a lot. You can't really get entangled too easily. Because if you think about it, your first camp gets you like what? Like 148 experience or something like that. It gets you further than a footman away from level 2. So that means even if you like skill entangle first and you kill their scout footman, or even if you bring a wisp and detonate their water elemental early, you can't really get level 2. Whereas on a lot of other maps, you're pretty much one kill away from getting that level 2. So Keeper's kind of bad. You kind of need another camp, or you just need to go Treants first and hope that on the Expo Harass in a standard game, you can get some serious damage done. Is map hacking common on Battle.net now? Not that I know of, but I don't play on Battle.net. So that's the downside of Keeper on Last Refuge. And Beastmaster's strong because Last Refuge has like the highest density of creeps in one spot. Let me actually, here, we're in the replay. I'll go in game and I'll talk about this before we actually start the real game. So the cool thing about Last Refuge is it has the highest density of creeps in a single spot. So you have a green right here, Merc camp right here, down here you have a green, and then your expo. All these camps, and you even have one right here, and the lab and the shop. Like, there's such a high density of creeps, whereas you think like a map like Concealed Hill, for instance, if you think about how far you have to run from camp to camp, you know, even a camp like Northern Isles, which has pretty high density as well, is not like here you can creep 3 camps at the same time, even 4 sometimes. So that's really the strength of playing like a Beastmaster, is you can go from camp to camp to camp and get an extremely fast level 3, and you have the summons to do it, and you build your Ancient of War here, and when you go for a tavern build, you have 2 archers before your hero's even out. So there's a lot of good things that you get from a Beastmaster on this map, and then it's also just good against human. You can get a nice counter expo, and you can get lots of mercs, like Dondo pointed out as well. So that's why Beastmaster is very common on this map, because it's not the greatest for Keeper, and it's also very good just in general for Beastmaster. That's also a similar reason why we see Demon Hunter at times on Last Refuge against Orc, is because just because Keeper isn't as good, and you can be stuck on level 1. And a Keeper stuck on level 1 is obviously worse than a Demon stuck on level 1, because the Demon can actually scale into the late game, and Talons are just good for momentum into the mid game. You can creep the shops and all that good stuff. That orange spot, the 3 gnolls, is always crept last on Last Refuge. Why? Yeah, he's talking about this camp. Well, this one's always crept last for obvious reasons, right? It's out of the way. It's difficult to creep, and it puts you back into a choke point. The reason why this isn't crept as commonly is harder to say. There's a few things. It's out of the way enough that a human cannot call militia to it. And a Night Elf, not common. Sometimes we'll see Ancient of Wars here. Sometimes we see people do that with like Warden or something. But more often we'll see double Ancient of War from a Night Elf like here, and then here, or on this side here, and then here. So like you don't Militia creep it. You can't Ancient of War creep it a lot of the time. Undead has difficulty because there's Purge and Poison. Orc has difficulty because most times when you're going to be creeping this, you only have a Grunt. But Orc actually with a Blade Master is probably the most common to creep this. It's just kind of annoying to creep in the early game. And then once you get to tier 2, the thing is you're always fighting over like the shops. These are more valuable. Like this gives you just a tier 2 permanent, just like this camp does, or this camp does, only these are much easier to creep. And, you know, they're much more accessible to creep as well. Whereas these are difficult, give the same item. So you're always going to be fighting in the mid-game over these. And, you know, most likely you're going to be trying to get your Merc camp in the mid-game. You're going to try to open up your lab in the mid-game. And this just doesn't really accomplish much for you. You're going to be fighting over the red camps. Like, Orc's going to be trying to pull this and ensnare it. Night Elf might be trying to pull it and, like, entangle it or something like that, right? You're going to be fighting over this. So this camp just doesn't have a lot of value. And it's really out of the way. And so you're not going to creep it in the early game because it's out of the way, and you're not going to creep it in the mid game because it doesn't have a lot of value, so people tend to save it till later on. But, you know, it could be nice to mix into, like, level 3 creep routes for maybe a Panda or a TC. Maybe if you need to creep it with, like, a Mountain King or something. But you can get level 3 so easily off of, like, these big camps that are all close to your base. Like, you imagine, you know, your second hero comes out of the altar or out of the tavern, and you just go straight here, here, Ancient Wars here. Right, so that's why that camp tends to be left over, and then the corner camps for obvious reasons. But that's a good. I never really thought about that before, but it's a good question. Thanks, Marty. Oh shit, Meaty Man! I allowed it, and then it banned you. I love this bot in this chat. I love it. I love it. Yeah, so that's why Beastmaster is very commonly played here, and that's why Keeper not so common. I don't know if I'd want to say this is the worst Keeper map, but it's the map where Keeper's played the least of all the top maps. So maybe it's the worst Keeper map. But I don't want to say that with authority. But it might be. But still, let's see what Shez does, because maybe he plays the Beastmaster, in which case we still have to do an episode on that. I think Beastmaster first on Last Refuge warrants an entire episode eventually. But let's jump into it. Here's replay 1. Let me know if you guys have any more questions like that. That null question was great. Null question was great. Here we go. Ooh, this might be a tavern build, actually. Could be. Could be. Okay, there's the altar. And like I said, I don't know what the MMR is. They're playing on BattleNet, so it's tough to actually say. Why Keeper Aura is no good, it's just that Treants or Entangle are much better at pretty much every stage of the game. One sec, sorry guys. Ah, good, Dondo sent me the replay. Nice, we'll do that at the end. Alright. I was going to say, we could have an Ancient War at the Merc camp, and that wouldn't be too bad. The downside of creeping the Merc camp is it takes a while to creep, and yes, you have mercenaries. But then by then, you go across the map, and the Archmage is probably already going to be level 3, because they can always creep their Merc camp, is the most common way to do it on this map for the human. Then they can creep their expansion, and they can creep these greens, and they'll be easily level 3. And, you know, you've crept this, and slowly and then walked over, they're going to be on their last camp probably by then. Okay, so it's going to be Keeper, which of course isn't like it's unplayable. It's definitely doable. But we may see some of the difficulties of the map come into play, like not, you know, finding it difficult to get level 2, for instance. Which means we should almost we should probably come out of the altar, try to grab the item, and then just straight run to their expo if we can. There's been a couple things so far, though. This Ancient War was a tad bit late, which means our Keeper's going to be out, and our Archer's barely going to be out by now. So generally what we'll do is we'll try to build this Ancient War at the same time as our Moonwell. So we start with 5 wisps, right? We put 4 on gold, 1 makes the altar. The next wisp we build comes out and builds the Ancient War, and at that same time we take 1 out of the gold mine and build our Moonwell as our opening build order. So we want our Ancient War and our first Moonwell to be going up at relatively the same time, whereas this game I don't believe that was the case. So our Arch is going to be a little bit late, which is going to slow us down if we need to be potentially harassing a fast expansion. Yeah, it's a little touch late, right? Oh yeah, and then it did this whole move over here and then move over here, yeah. So it's going to be about, you know, maybe 5, 6, 7 seconds late. And this was a little fumbly-bumbly, but that's alright. That's just opener stuff. So yeah, another thing we want is to be wisp scouting, ideally early, so maybe even with this wisp out of the Moonwell, because we need to see when the human is expanding, and on a lot of maps, where the human is expanding. On this map, it's obviously not possible that our human opponent's going to be creeping this to Expo. We know if they are going to expand, which is what we should be assuming they're going to do, they're going to Expo here. But on maps, most notably Tidehunters, right? There's multiple expansions that are viable to Expo at. Maybe on a Turtle Rock if you play that on occasion. Are there other maps that this is a thing on? Autumn Leaves. There's 2 expansions they could go to, right? So we want to have a wisp, not just, you know, kind of check their base and then go hide on a tree in the middle of nowhere. We want a wisp to be actively following around the Archmage to see what he's creeping and when he's expanding and is he expanding, which is difficult to do, but that is, we need to scout most actively in this matchup and against undeads, I would say. Because Orc players we can determine based on where their hero goes initially or what their shot timing is if they're going to harass us. And Night Elf Mirror, you're almost always going to creep right away. Did War 3 booster break? Because I can't see it. One sec. I got to restart War 3 booster. Let me go back to me. Restarting the program. All right, there we go. That should work. There we go. It works. Good. Is this a replay? TheoryCraft on Saturday? Yeah, we had to reschedule from Thursday because there's a bunch of stuff on Thursday that Neo and Remo were doing. Okay, back into the game. Okay, yeah, so we are a little bit late on this Ancient War. And another relatively large mistake, I'd say, is we're not following around. So if we had a Wisp here right now, we would know that he's not creeping this green, or more commonly not creeping this mercenary camp, so we can determine how much time we have to get across the map and expand. Right? So in this case, we'd want to grab the item that should already be on the ground, because our Ancient War would be a bit early, and we want to run straight down. Right? Whereas in some other cases, say he's maybe creeping the Merc camp, we can Deado a Wisp there, but we could probably get level 2 ourselves off the Murlocs, or maybe come down and creep something like his Priest. We'd have a little bit more time to try to secure our own level 2 before going to harass, but in this case, we should be running straight down. And we should be running straight down with Treants. So this is another quite big mistake, because remember back to the beginning of this replay, it's difficult to get level 2 on Last Refuge. And it's even more difficult to get level 2 if we're going to plan to try to harass right away, which should be our response here. Come down and try our best to delay the expansion. Without Treants here, we're really not going to get a whole lot of damage done to the expansion in most cases.
A player's forces are under attack.
Yeah, this Wisp not really scouting, so we're kind of in the dark. Like, if we just look what vision we have right now, we don't know what's going on, right? We have no idea. He could be playing one base. He could be tower rushing us. You know, there could be a Naga in our base right now. And then we have Entangle, and there's a Naga tower rushing us, right? We definitely want Treants if we're going to get tower rushed as well. But this is good. See, this is exactly what you should do just immediately after the first item. Just run down while your Ancient Warrior Archer cleans it up.
A player's forces are under attack.
Now we run down to the Expo. And he pulls back his peasants. See, now here what we could do is we could double entangle this footman, but that's going to be a lot of mana. Right? It's going to be a lot of mana. Pretty much, like, we can't do a ton here. We can try to get some last hits. We can commit a lot of mana into killing a footman. That wouldn't be the end of the world, but chances are if we entangle a footman right now, he's just going to turn around and attack us the whole time we're attacking the footman, and we're going to have to entangle it not once but twice. That's going to cost us maybe 300 health and 150 mana. So maybe better here to just be patient. We know that he's crept his expansion, but he's sending his peasants back. We can check his vision to see. Yes, he knows he's sending his peasants back, so we don't know for sure if he's expoing or not yet. We don't see a fourth farm or anything, so we don't know too much, but it's probably best to not overcommit here and just maybe try to get a last hit, maybe bring a wisp in, try to get a detonate, get some damage on the Archmage, and just behind this just produce more archers and wait and see is our opponent expanding. Because we don't want to commit all of our health in and all of our mana in and then have him just bring these peasants back, and what do you know, we're screwed. We killed one footman and now he's going to get his expo up for free because we have no mana, no health. Behind this, just keep building archers. Some Night Elves build 4, some build 5. I would say just build 5 is totally fine. And we'll talk more about the macro side of things later. Definitely another thing you want to do is try to get your third well up as early as possible, because it's about to be nighttime, and we want that third well to be done for the entire nighttime so that we have a lot of Moonwell mana. We'll see, if you watch pro Night Elves, they always have this third well done on time so that the regeneration starts, because again, if we commit in 200, 300 health and 150 mana to say kill a footman here, which might look very tempting given the creep jack, could definitely see you going trying to kill this footman. We're going to go back and we're not even going to be able to heal up fully because we're not going to have that third well with that 200 moon juice once nighttime hits, or even in some cases that fourth well. So yeah, third well, more archers, wait for the expansion, I think is probably the best way to do this, given the information we have right now. Because our opponent could still be playing one base for all we know, if for all I know as well, and I can see his base. Nice deny from our opponent. See, like here we could be going for some last hits. Oh, we could get that. Okay. Did we kill that footman, by the way? So we did get that footman. That's not bad. And now we got level 2. See, a footman and a... I guess that footman wasn't denied. A footman and a peasant, and we get level 2. That was denied. But see, now our harass is kind of over. So going back and getting staff now, and then staff into this archer, probably the best play. Continue the pressure. It looks like you're going to do that, which is a really nice play. Again, we're not really building archers. We should definitely be trying to build some archers. Who are the players? High-ranked players? These are just community replay submissions. And notice this third Moonwell is not done yet. If the third Moonwell was done, we'd have an extra 200 moon juice coming back home. Whereas now we can't get full mana or even full health. But that staff play was really, really good. That was perfect. Here I would say no need to use Entangle. Just spam Treants. Just use all the mana on Treants. So we would have actually had another set of Treants here. And this is ending up to be quite good damage, because for some reason our opponent didn't power build the tower immediately after creeping the expo. He sent the peasants all the way back. He should have just built an arcane tower right away. But now he's taking quite a bit of damage. This actually is turning out all right. So the biggest mistake at this stage, I would say, is now we haven't actually built any more archers. So like, what's the follow-up? Not only what's the follow-up to this harass, because this harass is coming to a close, because he's getting more and more footmen, right? He's going to have an arcane tower up soon. So the harass is soon going to be over, and we're out of mana. But what's the follow-up creeping-wise? Because we don't have any archers to creep. So archers are very good at pressuring here. We could have done some more damage. Even if we had the 3 archers we should have had by this timing, we probably even could have canceled this town hall. If we didn't use that initial entangle and got another set of treants, killed this peasant, focus everything on the town hall, we probably even get a cancel here if we're macroing archers behind this. But not just that. Not just the fact we could have done more damage. Also, what are we going to creep at tier 2 with now the Demon Hunter that we have coming out? Oh, so in fact, we could have even more archers by now. We could have our 5th archer out by now. I mistimed that a bit. So that's another thing. Like, it's just going to be difficult. You can move your Ancient War to creep the Merc camp, but other than that, you're going to be fully tanking with treants. Jesus. And then at tier 2, you only had 8 lumber wisps. You only need you need to build 3 wisps. You pretty much want to make sure you always have 8 wisps on lumber. And that includes after you build your lore in your shop and all that. So 8 wisps on lumber, you can always just count them. But yeah, this went pretty well. This is actually a really good harass. And I did a whole episode on this, actually. When you have a really good harass against human as Night Elf, you can actually, I think, more often go Panda. This is kind of an oversimplification of the matchup, but Demon Hunter tends to be the macro style of play. You tend to counter-expand with a Demon Hunter, because Demon Hunter's better at defending back at home, whereas a Panda is much better at being aggressive. So because you're not counter-expoing right now, and a very common time to counter-expand would be after your last archer is done producing, after the 5th archer. Seems like you're going to go for, like, quick bears. And with quick bears, going for a panda is also really, really strong. So then you can actually just go for a bear bust, and you never have to counter-expand. You can just get bears as fast as possible, try to get panda level 2 or level 3, and then just end the game. And you've done enough damage to justify that kind of a play. And you're still continuing to do damage. Again, if you had 5 archers, this Arcane Tower would be cancelled, and you could probably kill the Great Hall, or the Town Hall, playing too much Orc. So you be able to get a lot of value from the archers. Oh, can you get out? I think you can get out. I think you should be able to get out. Oh, maybe not.
A player's forces are under attack.
Unfortunate. Yeah, so that was a good harass. It's over now because the tower's up. That's unfortunate as well. The tower's up. So now our goal, once the harass ends, as a Night Elf player playing Keeper against a Human Fast Expo, does anyone know what the main thing we should be focusing on? Once our harass is over, what should we be focusing on? What should be our first priority? Our #1 priority? A Sig Brandt. Thank you for the 39 months. Appreciate you. Does anyone know what the first top priority? 80 Food Chimera. Exactly. Level 3 DH. That's good, yes. But, yeah, Kevin, good. Level 3 DH is great, but first we must prioritize level 3 on the Keeper. Eating ass. I'm not going to allow that one. Wait, fuck it, I'll allow it. There we go. Yeah, level 3 Keeper. Because the only way we can defend hordes of defend footmen, and let's imagine now we've hit our tier 2. We have our 5 archers I mentioned. We're going into Dryads, right? So we have a Keeper, level 1 Demon Hunter, 5 archers and a Dryad. What if he comes in with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? He could have maybe more than this even. He could have 7, let's say, defend footmen. How do we deal with them? Well, the only way at this stage in the game is to have level 2 Entangle. If we have level 2 Entangle, all we do is use 75 mana, attack a footman twice, and then it is dead. With level 1 Entangle, we saw earlier at this green camp, it took double Entangle, we took 200 health, it was a complete nightmare just killing a single footman. And the Demon Hunter's not going to do it on its own. The Archers and Dryads are just going to hurt themselves. So we need to get Entangle level 2 as a #1 priority once the harass is over. Because, of course, once the harass is over, we know the human's top priority is going to be pressuring us to try to delay our lures, try to delay maybe a counter expansion. I'm getting text messages. all that sort of stuff. So we need to be preparing for the pressure. So backing up here, and unfortunately, we got stuck in our base for a little bit, which is a rough time to do so. But had we not, maybe we come over here, creep this green, and then creep our expo, get level 3 as quickly as we can. And then we can defend this footman, this footman pressure, assuming they have defend as well. Even if they don't have defend, archers against footmen can be difficult in high numbers, right? So that should be our #1 priority. And then absolutely after that, level 3 Demon Hunter should be a priority for sure. Well, we are able to defend with pretty much just the Keeper alone. Once you have Keeper level 3, even if they're running into your base with 5-6 footmen, your Keeper at nighttime, because he's got close to infinite entangles, at nighttime can just do it on his own while your Demon Hunter creeps. Whereas now, like, this footman's probably not going to die. Okay, maybe it will with all that focusing. Okay, we got it.
The town is under siege.
Still, priority should be getting 3-3, though, because our harass, we're not going to do much more. We see he's fortifying here. And again, he's going to have defend soon. It's just going to be really difficult. So we should just be focusing on creeping at this stage. Which the creeping, again, would be made easier if we had 5 archers. If we had 5 archers, we could just creep a shop. Would we be able to creep a shop with what we have currently? No. No, we would not.
Forces are under attack.
Not easily, at least. But still, we're going up to quick bears. I think a panda would be better suited with this style because it doesn't look as though we're going to be counter-expanding. If you had wanted to counter-expand, I think it would be too late at this stage. Why would it be too late? Because the human's already teching, and he's going to go for like a, 11, 12 minute, 65 supply push to your expansion. And if you counter expand late, and it hasn't paid off yet, you're just going to be behind when he eventually does get up to that high supply number. So better just to play the tech game, get to tier 3 quicker, and then try to break their expansion instead of counter expoing. So I think here, just playing pure 1 base, getting up to bears as quickly as possible, try to get DH level 3, and then just do a big push towards his expo is probably the best play here. But still, we're continuing to pressure. We can't get much done. See, we killed 1 peasant here, lost all the mana on our keeper, and now we got to run back, and we're not creeping. And we're still not prepared for the defend footman pressure if that does come. Like a player like Chamiko, a player like Sock here, is going to have 12 defend footmen in your base. Literally. They're going to have 12 defended footmen in your base.
A player's forces are
killing Moonwells, killing Lores. He's going to be sappering your Moonwells. It's crazy. So that's why we need Keeper 3 to be prepared for that. And they're going to have Archmage level 3 a lot of the time. But the macro's pretty good, just getting bears really early. Well, I'll never play against Soccer Chimeko, so there's that. Well, you'll never play against them, but you'll play against players that are inspired by their style of play. How about that?
A player's forces are under attack.
And try to emulate it as best as they can. How many undeads are trying to play like Happy right now, you see? Oh. Oh, 1 sap would wreck like 5 Moonwell. It'd be tough. You'd be able to kill 3 maybe with 1. Maybe even 4 with 1. Actually, you're right. Okay, now we're counter expanding, but let's just take a gauge of the game right now. Counter expanding, he's level 3 with defended footman. Now the only thing that he can do before he's waiting for a Mountain King right now. It could be a Blood Mage. The only thing he's able to do really, he could creep level 4 Archmage here, yeah. But in most cases, he doesn't want to do that. He wants to save creeps for his second hero. And he wants to slow you down. So a lot of the time, humans are going to be just running at you with a lot of footmen here. So you're probably going to get this canceled. And not only that, it's pretty late. Like, if his tech is done, and he's going to be going into, in most cases, maybe 2 barracks rifles with 2 sanctums, or 2 sanctums with a workshop, and trying to get up to 65 supply very, very early, like I pointed out. And a lot of the time, if we look at the game timer, 9 minutes and 51 seconds, a lot of the time they can be about 65 close to 70 supply by about the 11.5, 12-minute mark. So about 2 minutes from now. How long does this tree take? It's going to take about 2.5 minutes to be close to mining. So by the time you're close to mining at this expansion, it has not paid off, it's just a sunk cost, he's already going to be ready to push and fight. Which is why I say this is a late timing. If you want to counter-expand in this matchup, you need to counter-expand a lot earlier. Ideally, as soon as you get level 3 Keeper, as soon as you back away from the harass, get level 3 Keeper, then you can expand, because then you can finally deal with the defend footmen that are coming to try to cancel this expansion.
A player's forces are under attack.
So if we do lose this game, we're going to lose it because this is a late expo, and we're, you know, our bear timing is really good, so we could just run at him with bears, his expo, and probably even do some serious damage. But now we're leaving ourselves open to a push despite being so ahead in tech by this expo timing. I don't agree with the Mount King, but that's alright. Hello, Axel. My uncle wants me to start playing this game. It's fun. It's a fun game. It is. It's difficult, but it's fun. The Keeper will finally get free. Oh, is he actually not going to get this cancel? Wait, he's got to wait for the water elemental cooldown. 5 seconds. This human could definitely get this cancel, so they just got to get that next water elemental. Alright, it's canceled. It's canceled. Oh, please. Oh, please, human player. Oh, God. Can we just call that expo canceled? Kiro Slays, what's up, bro? Can we just call this expo canceled, please? Alright, well, that was a game-losing mistake. So now we're probably in a winning position. I think all we do now is just run our opponent. We probably won the game. But still, all the points I set up to this point are still remain true. But we are going to win now. We are going to win. We are going to win. A little bit Dryad heavy. Maybe a little bit Dryad heavy. If we were playing the quick counter expo, being Dryad heavy is absolutely fine. But if we're playing fast tech bears, like we did here, I think more of a priority on bears below 50 supply would be good. Probably having about 4 bears, maybe 2, 3 Dryads here would be good.
A player's forces are under attack.
And we see the power of a quick tier 3 tech and actually doing damage to the expansion. Despite us counter-expanding, be a little bit slow on our creeping. It's all good. And I did do an entire episode on this, by the way. I did an entire episode on both the bear bust and counter-expo style in this matchup. I think it was called Scratching the Surface of Night Elf versus Human. So I did a whole episode on this, so you could see me talk about it more if you want to see that. Where I cover all these points as well that I just said. Definitely want to use that staff to save the bears. We should still be able to close this out. Also, especially because the expansion lived. This is why pressuring with a panda is a lot easier. So if we're going to be playing aggressive styles, having a panda is really good, because you imagine if we had a panda 3 instead of a demon 3, we just come here and we just keep breathing this. And eventually the expo is going to be broken. Then once we are able to get bears in, once the towers are dead, he just loses his expo. Whereas Demon Hunter, a lot more underwhelming. But a Demon Hunter at defending an expansion, a lot better, because you just keep mana burning, you never really run out of mana burn, and eventually the human can run out of steam. No more water elementals, no more slows on their sorceresses, no more bolts or claps on their Mountain King. So Demon Hunter's much better at defending, a Panda much better at being aggressive, which we are certainly being aggressive right now. But we should still win. We've done some real damage here. Done some real damage. Against not a bad opponent. The opponent here didn't have a terrible grasp of what to do. He just had some mechanical flubs, I think. Yeah, more bears coming in. Expo mining, good macro behind it. It's all solid. One thing we're majorly missing is, of course, Orb, which we should try to get immediately at Tier 3. Like we saw in the War 3 Champions Finals, we saw Foggy play a counter Expo. So he went for lots of Dryads to try to hold on to the counter Expo and buy time, because he didn't have time to get to bears. But he still went to Tier 3 just to get the orbs. Just to get at least one orb, but ideally 2 orbs. Because that's how important they are to actually be able to fight. So you can go for a lot of Dryads, whatever, but always get that orb as well. And especially if you're going Tier 3 as quickly as you have this game, get that orb. It's really good. It's really, really good. It's about the most important source of damage in your entire army in every matchup. Except for when you have a Panda. But Orb is almost as good as a Panda. Orb is really good. So that's the main thing we're missing here. 1-2 upgrades as well. Sheesh. And see, again, we're seeing the difficulty of a Demon Hunter. Just how does a Demon Hunter break this? You know, the Panda just makes this so much easier, but still the bears are nice. So it's no problem. And even if we're throwing bears away at this stage, we can just keep running at our opponent. And this is the beginning of the end here. So a solid game. Definitely a lot of places to improve, though, for sure. But still a solid game overall. I think the main thing that won you this game was just the good... There was some macro mistakes in not building archers, right? In the counter expo maybe not being the best strategic choice, in forgetting that third Moonwell, in forgetting that orb. Those are small macro errors, but the overall macro of getting to Tier 3 and getting to bears here was quite quick, and that's what won you this game. Alright, human player. Alright, human player. You put up a good fight. Put up a good fight. Even the column's attacking the human, yeah.
Player's forces are under attack.
And soon we'll have the GG. And also, I'd like to note, a lot of the time when you're doing these sort of bear pushes and you're being very aggressive and it's an extended sort of like, why won't you die sort of situation, a really good thing to do, which isn't really possible in this where the Sanctum is, but I mean, if they go dual Sanctum, dual barracks, maybe a workshop, just killing their tech buildings with bears can be really strong. Because their goal is to get up to a big supply count on Tier 2 in most cases, and just beat you with more stuff, even though you have the tech advantage. So you can just simply, if you hit a strong timing, and they have like a workshop, a Sanctum at a position, a barracks at a position, just kill their tech. But also, if you have a Panda, you can just bust their expo with the Breath of Fire.
Player's forces are under attack.
This is it. This is GG. This is the game. The game's over. You mean kill their production buildings? Yeah, just kill their production buildings.
A player's forces forces are under attack.
Because often when humans do this three farm expo style, and they try to get their tech really early, they're cutting lumber peasants. So their lumber works out, not in this case, but if you watch like a top tier human versus night elf, the lumber of like a Chainmaker is working out perfectly that he can get all the upgrades and to get up to 70 supply, and then he's going to be totally out of lumber. So if you're killing like a Sanctum, a Workshop, you're really hurting their lumber. You're really hurting their lumber. So that's a good thing to do if you're sort of in this like, how do I kill this guy? You might turn this around any second now, yeah. So that's replay 1. Thank you to ShezzVR for the submission. Like I said, I did a whole episode on pretty much exactly what we were seeing in this game, so you can go back and check that out, and you'll probably see me echoing a lot of the points that I said throughout this replay. Why GG? If win, GG. If lose, it was BG. Yeah, he still had buildings left, didn't he? Alright, our next submission is from the Birdman, solid, who is an undead player. I forget his MMR, we'll say in game. He says, "Hey Carson, keep up the great work. You're a legend of the scene. Thank you. This is undead versus orc. I am really unsure how to defend against an aggressive Farseer. I am not losing stuff, but I feel like I get behind and I am losing XP. What am I supposed to do to get back on track? 5 minutes early game." Great question. Okay, playing Farseer Headhunters against Farseer Headhunters as an undead. Hey, we did an episode on that as well. We've done a couple of episodes on that. Focus versus Happy. We did it. We focused more on... Oh, we did do it from Happy's perspective, didn't we? So we've done an episode on this as well. Incredible. But it's difficult. It's difficult. But there are some common mistakes. We'll see what happens. This is on Concealed Hill. I think a fairly standard map for this matchup currently. Maybe it's a good orc map. This matchup is good for orc. I'm an orc player, I could say that. This is the Farseer Headhunter side of this matchup much easier than the undead side of this matchup. And I know this from experience. Maybe not at the top level, but definitely at the my level and below. It's not the most difficult for orc, but there are definitely ways to make the orc's life tricky and to do some real damage. We can talk about those. Let's check it out. Concealed Hill, replay number 2. Oh, this guy's got a sick name. All right, let's go. So here's the Birdman, also has a sick name. But up here, Humperdinck is our our orc opponent. Solid. Alright, and we're going for Fast Fiends, which is a great build against Farseer Headhunters. This is just a great build against Farseer Headhunters. Yeah, just great. The only time you wouldn't play this is if you think you're up against maybe a Blade Master. Not a sick name, it is a nickname. Wow, that is really nitpicky. My god. My god. What? Alright, so this is all good. No complaints here so far. I think Concealed Hill going Fast Fiends against an orc opponent is totally acceptable. You just have to realize if it is a Blade Master what your follow-up's going to be, which it might be a little bit tricky in that case. But yeah, Farseer Headhunters, we'll talk more about this. So, we're not going to be able to creep much, because if he straight harasses us, you know, his Farseer is going to be on our base before our Death Knight's already out, but we'll have 2 Fiends and Skellies, so actually it's quite easy to just fend off the Farseer with this build order, which is the upside. Don't know. No, that's very easily possible. You've seen my ladder streams. So yeah, it's quite easy to actually just fend off a Farseer. Like honestly, if I as an orc player am scouting this build, a lot of the time me, the Orc player, I'm just going to creep. Because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get a lot done against the Fast Fiend build order. Ooh, but we're going for a third ghoul. That is a mistake. That is a mistake. Instead of this third ghoul, we should be building our first Fiend already. And then note, our first Fiend will put us at 17 supply. Right? So yeah, this is kind of an in-between Ted and Philbot Fiends, but it's just taking the bad of Fast Fiends and not getting any of the good. Hello, Hitman. Nerubian on time. Very good. Hitman can fact-check me, like he always does. See, normally, with the standard Fast Fiend build order, we would have 2 Fiends. Well, the second Fiend would be coming out in about 5 seconds right now. Which would make this a lot easier, but we're only going to have 1 Fiend. So this is going to be more tricky. But let's see how it plays out.
A player's forces are under attack.
So we have a little bit of time before the first headhunters show up. We're waiting for our second Fiend. What's up, Storov? We definitely don't have to be this afraid, though, especially when our second Fiend is out. We could just creep this. Now, if we go Ted Fiends, which is fast Death Knight on this map, we can most times creep this whole camp with 2 coils before the Farseer gets here. In fact, we can. But in this case, we could literally just creep this with 2 Skellies and 2 Fiends, just pull it and creep it in the Farseer's face. And when he comes into range of us, we could just focus down 1 wolf. And what we have to remember when we're defending against a Farseer and what should be some headhunters, okay, they're chilling in the base, is these wolves, they're on a 30-second cooldown. And if you kill one of these 2 wolves or lower them in such a way that they're no longer useful, they have to run away or they would feed experience. So there's only 1 wolf. And you do that immediately after they've summoned these wolves. Look, 30-second cooldown. There's 30 seconds before they're going to have another pair of wolves. And 1 wolf is, like, look, let's compare a wolf to an Acolyte. 250 health, 11 to 12 damage, fast attack speed. 9 to 10 damage. Okay, slow attack speed. 230. So, you know, add a fast attack speed to this Acolyte. Give it Unholy Frenzy. An Acolyte is a wolf. That's what we're afraid of. 2 of them. Okay. 2 of them with Unholy Frenzy. They're putting in some work. But if we just creep this camp, bait out a resummon of the wolves, focus 1 right away. He's got to either he loses it or he micros it away. He's got a Farseer and 1 wolf. Then we just put 2 Skellies in the Farseer, and it's easy peasy. And at least we get a camp. And if we can continue to do that until we can squeeze out a level 2, squeeze out Unholy Aura, then once the Headhunters meet up with the Farseer, then we can actually start chasing down the Headhunters with Aura. And the Orc actually has to start backing away because we can continuously chase down Headhunters with Coil and with Aura, and he's going to start taking losses. But all we have to do is initially defend against these wolves, which is quite easily done. Given that we have 2 Fiends.
A player's forces are under attack.
Does this guy compare wolves theoretically to Unholy Frenzied Acolytes? Yeah, look at him. Look at him, bro. 9 to 10. 9 to 10 with 1 armor, 230 health. 11 to 12, 0 armor, 250 health. See? See? Someone do the video. Someone do the comparison. Someone do the comparison. Although wolves would win because of armor type. So you can't do it directly. You can't do it directly.
A player's forces are under attack.
Somebody give Death Knight an ability to summon 2 Acolytes with Unholy Frenzy instead of having Coil. And see what they can do on the harass, okay? See what they can do. I'm sure they put in work. Now, this was really good, actually. This was really good, Birdman. So a lot of the time, what undeads will do when the Farseer shows up is they'll just sit in their base. but you already have a Nerubian up. So a lot of times undeads are going to be like, oh no, a Farseer, oh no, some headhunters, which of course these headhunters should be with the orc right now, right? They should be. There's no reason for them not to be. They'll be, oh no, and they'll just AFK in their base. But really, with this Nerubian, there's not much they're going to be able to do with just a solo Farseer into your base. The Nerubian will take care of the wolves. You'll be totally safe. So almost a better play is to force the Farseer to chase you around the map, and then you can not only creep some camps in their face, but also they have to be caught at a position. Right, they can get headhunters ensnared. Maybe they'll lose you. If they lose you on the map, then you just creep for free. That's the best case. But worst case is, at least you're not stuck in your base being pressured, not able to even have the potential of even smelling a creep camp. Right, so leaving your base, knowing you have the safety of the Nerubian back, and forcing the orc to chase you around, or best case scenario, forcing the orc to lose you, and then you can creep for free, that's a really good play. I like that. It's a good first step. But we should have... Okay, now we have our second fiend. Oh, this is just a little bit fumbly-bumbly, though, right now. A little bit fumbly-bumbly. Little fumbly-bumbly. We can, of course, just pull the ghouls here, right? That's why it's so easy to defend these at home, because we can just pull the ghouls right away. It'll hurt our lumber a little bit, but remember, 30-second cooldown on the wolves, and when he's just running them into your base, if he just runs his fresh set of wolves into your base and attacks an acolyte, and you just pull the ghouls and slow them with the Nerubian, he's just wasted his precious cooldown. And you know when he's used his cooldown, he's not really going to be able to creep something. Like, would he be able to creep a camp if he didn't have a summon of wolves? No, he wouldn't be able to do anything. He's just wasting his resummon. So we could be happy when he's using his wolves like that. Again, this was just a little unfortunate mechanically. I do think creeping this camp wasn't a bad call. We could have gotten away with it. This is a good call to creep this as well. But again, just focus down one wolf. That wolf is out of there. What do you know? The Farseer is useless. You see? We can just focus down this wolf now as well.
A player's forces are under attack.
And this is all just to buy time. Ideally, we can get level 2 while we're buying time, but we're just buying time for our tier 2 to be done. And then when we hit tier 2, we get a Dark Ranger. If we have Aura as well as that Dark Ranger, then we can start to really own their headhunters. So this is all just, we're trying our best to get level 2 and to not take any damage and not use all of our mana until we're tier 2. And then once we're tier 2, we actually hit a power spike and we're actually stronger than the orc in most cases. And the upside of this build, the Fast Fiends build, is we can in most cases get level 2, because it's difficult for the orc to pressure us. The orc just remembered he had headhunters. I think he was banking them in his base, which is, you know, not uncommon. For maybe newer Farseer headhunter players. Okay, new rod, that's good. Very common to use, go through 2 rods in the early game. So now we got 4 fiends. Now once we hit tier 2, this Skelly should be going right to the tavern. It should be sitting at the tavern. So we can get that Dark Ranger as soon as we hit tier 2. And then once we have that Dark Ranger, this orc has to run away. He's got to leave. He's got to go. He can no longer fight us once that Dark Ranger's up. So we need to be getting that Dark Ranger right away. And that's when we hit a power spike. That's when we can start actually power creeping, right? But the downside of the position we're in right now is we've got barely any experience, and this all comes down to just mechanics, right? It came down to the exchanges that you guys had, him harassing you and you defending the harass. You've used all of your coils. You haven't gained much experience. You don't have aura. Like, you really want to have aura by now, which isn't that much. It's, you know, getting this green camp and then getting one other big creep and you're fine. But you've used all your coils. You don't have aura. And you already went through a whole rod. So, you know, we'll still be able to fend him off once we pick up that Dark Ranger at tier 2. But we're not in a perfect situation because we have no mana. and no aura, which makes it even more difficult to creep and even more difficult to defend if he runs across with like a Shadow Hunter or something. But still, we'll soon be all right. We'll soon be all right. All right, so Dark Ranger. See, like we had to use a mana pot there. No Dark Ranger. That's the first big mistake. If you're not... Yeah. See, Lich is the first big mistake. Dark Ranger is very, very strong. Dark Ranger is even... I don't know, most people wouldn't agree with this. I think Dark Ranger is even better than Lich here. I think Dark Ranger is actually the carry. Not only is it good immediately at tier 2, but I think in the mid and late game against Farseer Headhunters, Dark Ranger is just better than the Lich with Orb. It's just straight up better. Like, once that Dark Ranger gets level 3, ooh, it's so good. It's so good. The Snowball Skellies on level 2, plus 10 damage from the Black Arrow. Ooh. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. No Lich is better. Oh, I disagree. Oh, I disagree. Yeah, Dark Ranger is so good and so necessary. So good and so necessary here. And, yeah, the Lich is just... You think about it, we'd already have the Dark Ranger right now. The Lich was forgotten about for a second, but this bad boy takes 55 seconds. That's 55 seconds longer we have to wait for this hero than the immediate Tavern hero. So that's 55 seconds that, again, we have to sit waiting in our base when the Orc is just a lot stronger than us. How much can he creep in 55 seconds? He could probably creep this, and even maybe snag this before our Lich is out, and before... Yes, once the Lich is out, we can, again, we're strong and we can fight him with Nova. Nova's great against Headhunters, sure. But we have it a minute later, and it might even be on paper worse than the Dark Ranger overall. So that's the first real big mistake, I would say, this game.
Player's forces are
I think maybe just creeping this right away to get your level 2 once he backs away is fine. You're probably going to give up a camp. And see, the cool thing about Dark Ranger is a lot of the time, Orc is going to back away, but they're not going to entirely back away once you get your Dark Ranger. They're going to back away and they're going to feint going home, but then they're going to try to snag a camp like this or a camp like this while they're backing away. But with the Dark Ranger, what you can do is you can just scout them with a Skelly, take a small camp close to your base, right? Take a small camp, start it, and then if you scout they're trying to steal one of your camps, you just creepjack them. And then you just do that over and over and over again, and they're just going to lose Headhunter after Headhunter after Headhunter until they literally go back home and start creeping close to their base, in which case then you have free reign of your own creeps. But this is only made possible with a Dark Ranger. If we don't have a Dark Ranger, we don't really have control of the game. One-for-one trades, not in our favor, of course. And that could have also been a Shadow Hunter right there. A lot of the times this will be a Shadow Hunter. And then we either TP or lose 3 Fiends instead of 1, right? But again, with the Dark Ranger, we could have fought if that was a Shadow Hunter. So yeah, so now our Lich is out. And now we're going to start creeping. Oh, but he's going to steal another camp away from us. So we're really just sort of losing control of this game slowly. And he's probably going tier 3. Ooh, Torn Totem. Interesting. And see, we really want to be scouting, like, our camps close to our base. Like, if you were creeping this earlier, you'd want to be sending a Skelly, like, around here, but you'd also want to be scouting like this, just close to your base, or, like, even, like, you know, checking his lab or something, just to see, like, you know he's going to be creeping something big. The Headhunter player is always going to be creeping something big. He might be backing up and creeping his lab. If he had a Shadow, he might be pulling the red camp, but you at least want to know what he's creeping and whether you can creepjack it. So in the case of this, he's stealing away a big camp, you could probably go and creepjack him and punish it. But you need to have a Skelly clearing creep camps constantly against Farseer Headhunters, because if they just are allowed to walk around the map unpunished, they're going to creep everything. They're going to creep all your camps, they're going to creep all his camps. It's going to be rough. And in this case, he's actually stealing all your creeps. He's stolen 1, 2, 3, and he even stole the green earlier. Alright, going to take some of his camps. I think that's alright. We're waiting for tier 3 still. So if a Kodo is a fiend, then you possess the Kodo with a Banshee. Is the Kodo still devouring your fiend after possession? I think the fiend would die. I think the fiend would die. Yeah, it's tempo play. That's what Dark Ranger is. It's tempo play. And, like, look what the Orc has done. He's just gone camp to camp to camp to camp. He's gone 1 camp, 2 camp, 3 camp. And then he can come over here and 4 camp. And what do you know? He's going to buy a tiny Great Hall and then put it down right away. The Orc is just constantly able to get advantage after advantage after advantage because they creep faster. They have an immediate expansion at tier 3. You know, they're creeping a TC, whereas you're, you know, trying to get DK3 still. You need to pressure the Orc more with that Dark Ranger to not allow them just to have free reign on the map. We've just been getting bullied the whole time.
Players' forces are under attack.
And like, especially when they go TC second before the Orc is tier 3, you're actually in a decent spot to fight. But yeah, now this is just very, very rough. He's pretty much stolen every creep camp because we allowed him to, right? By playing Lich and by not really scouting when he was stealing away our camps and having kind of a rough early game. Okay, tier 3 hits. We should definitely still get Dark Ranger. And yeah, Destro form is fine. And what Happy does most often is he just breaks upkeep right away at tier 3 and tries to get up to 56 supply and then fight. And another reason, good reason to break upkeep right away, if you can, so you get your Dark Ranger, you got your 3rd statue, and then just keep building fiends, is because he's probably Tiny Great Halling. Yeah, here it is, Tiny. So we need to be preparing to go for a pretty much all-inning this. Which is going to be difficult, because we don't even have a Dark Ranger still. And yeah, his items are also really, really good. So the early game was good for him. These items are super good as well, and now tier 3 is kicking in. He went for very early walkers, but yeah, this guy, the Orc opponent here is just playing a pretty solid game overall. And we've given him a lot of space. Yeah, I almost want to say it's impossible to fight this without a Dark Ranger. Almost want to say that. Not just for the silence against the now level 3 TC, but also just against the Berserkers. Yeah, now there's a Tiny up. And this is pretty, like, if we don't win the next fight, like, one-sidedly, this game is definitely going to be over. And I don't see how we're going to win the fight. We could actually, like, I think the best play here, but we haven't, again, we haven't really been scouting. We haven't been scouting either. That's been a really big downside. We need, like, Skelly is constantly scouting. We should have a Skelly constantly scouting this when we know he's tier 3. So the Orc's going to hit tier 3 around the same time as us, right? Because we're both going quite quickly. He might even be tier 3 slightly faster, because a lot of the time people will go up to 40 supply at tier 2. Get 2 statues and all that shit. So we should, around the time when we hit tier 3, we should also be checking, are they going for a Tiny Great Hall? But importantly also, we need to be scouting for what they're creeping throughout so that we can try to pressure them a little bit to not just give them free reign. But if we know about this Tiny, we should grab a Dark Ranger right now and try to go for one big final fight. Why is Dark Ranger so important? It's just very, very good against the Berserkers with Black Arrow for snowballing the fights. And it's also good against the TC later on for silence. And it's also good for tempo play. It's the best hero out of the tavern for tempo immediately at tier 2. So we can get the orc out of our face and stop him from stealing away all of our creep camps. It's pretty much the best tempo play hero. And it also has the added effect of just being really good against this army. Yeah, this is rough. This is real rough. He's got like 600 stomps as well. Yeah, and this all really comes down to just the very, very early game. The first like 5 minutes, right? And more work, alright. Thanks for the 37 months, dude. It all really just comes down to like the first 5 minutes of the game to where we get to this point. Because when the orc gets an advantage in this sort of a matchup right now, it just continuously snowballs because they creep faster, they have heroes that scale better, and they have a tiny Great Hall, and they're constantly, their army's always getting stronger. Like, look, the second the fight's over, like, well, he's going into Taurens now. He's getting more Raiders. He could get a third hero. He could still get his Orb of Lightning. He probably doesn't have 3-0. No, he doesn't have 1-0. Like, he's constantly getting stronger. And before this, you know, he's waiting for Berserkers to get done. He's waiting for his Kodo upgrade to get done. He's still waiting for Master Spirit Walkers. There's always things that orcs are getting the longer the game goes to improve their army. Whereas Undead here, the best army you go for is you just go for fiends and statues and try to continuously pressure and win off your heroes. So if you give them time and you give them space, the orc is always, always, always growing further and further ahead. Orc heroes scale better than undead heroes. I never knew that. I guess it's debatable. But they're also scaling better just because the orc is creeping faster than you the entire game with headhunters. Because they have a 2-to-1 ratio on you in most cases. Yeah, now this. As long as if the orc holds their tiny Great Hall at this timing, you pretty much lost. That's a lot of what this matchup comes down to most of the time. We get Khadgars, which is great. Which would be especially great with the Dark Ranger. Wouldn't Banshees and 1 A-Bomb with Disease Cloud go a long way in this matchup? The thing with going for things like Abominations and going for Banshees is it ruins the tempo. Again, it gives the orc too much time, too much space to get their tiny up, to get all the upgrades he's waiting for. Now he's got Taurens, now he's probably getting Master Training for the Walkers. It just gives the orc too much time. By the time we have Banshees, they already have the counter to Banshees. By the time we have an Abomination with Disease Cloud, they have triple heal scroll because they've had an Expo up for so long. Which is why it's all about the tempo of the game. That's why Dark Ranger, that's why we break Upkeep right away. That's why we pretty much stick to Fiend Statue and get a single Destroyer on occasion. And we just try to pressure and not allow the orc to have a ton of space. Right from the get-go. And there was a whole episode on this, the Happy vs. Focus series, right? You can go check it out. You can check out how Happy was able to win the games that he won.
A player's forces are under attack.
But yeah, well, this game, this is obviously not really winnable anymore. The orc kind of gave us a chance by going into Taurens, which is a little bit weird champ, but if he had just gone up to straight 70 supply, got a third hero with Hex, I mean, it would have been over, but, you know, yeah, it really just does come down to what you want to focus on in the early game is this build order was
Player's
fine, but
forces
don't
are
get that
under
third
attack.
ghoul and just get your second fiend out right away. So you have 2 fiends right when your Death Knight comes out of the altar. And then you want to, if you're being pressured by the Farseer, your main goal should be, can I scrape out a level 2 to get aura? Can I somehow, without taking too much damage, obviously not losing any units, but also not losing too much health or too much mana on my DK, can I scrape together level 2 for aura? Then once you get the aura, you can, of course, if you're able to scrape together level 3, then whoopee, you probably won the game, right? But you get a Dark Ranger at tier 2, you continuously scout for where the orc is creeping, and you pressure him with that Dark Ranger. And you continue to pressure him with that Dark Ranger until you're tier 3, then you get the Lich with Orb. And then once you get the Lich with Orb, most cases orc is going for a tiny Great Hall, so you go for one big final push with Tri-Hero and try to break their expansion. Ideally after creepjacking them multiple times and doing damage and not allowing them to get level 4 TC with a Pendant and a greater mana and all that stuff. It's all about tempo, all about pressuring, not all about not allowing the orc to have a ton of space. But the first steps are very important. Get to level 2, get to that Dark Ranger on tier 2, and don't be don't be this DK right now once you get your Dark Ranger and have 45 mana, 200 health, right? You want to be able to get out on the map and be aggressive. And if you have 4 Fiends, a Dark Ranger, a DK level 2, and a Skelly Rod, and he's got 7 Headhunters, you're definitely going to win. You're going to destroy him. And then if you're creepjacking him at camps like his lab, and you're bullying him off a creep camp like his lab, then suddenly that creep becomes your creep, and then who's getting the hero advantage? Who's getting the upper hand in map control? All that stuff. But yeah, the orc, he's got 1,200 gold. He's got 1,200 gold. He's got torrents coming out. I mean, yeah, and a lot of it does come down to micro. Like, that's why Undead is such a difficult race, man. Because, like, I can't just tell you here, like, oh, you just need to build this unit. Oh, just go Banshees and you've won. Right? That's what you're missing. Oh, just you need an Abomination and you're fine. Oh, just go Frostworms. I can't tell you that. It's all about map movement and scouting, when and where you take fights, pressuring your opponent at the right times, being defensive at the right times. That's what Undead is all about. And then, of course, it also comes down to executing in the fights properly, keeping your destroyers alive, kiting back, you know, focus firing the proper targets. It's very, very difficult. That's why that's why Undead is a difficult race, because the things are less tangible than with other races. And GG. Thank you for the submission. I hope that helped. It's a difficult matchup. It's a difficult matchup, and I'll be honest with you, I think you were a little bit outclassed here. I think your opponent might have been a touch better than you. So there's no shame in this loss at all, and it's a tricky matchup even in a completely evenly skilled game. But I'd watch some 1-2-0 games. Happy is sometimes hard to learn from, but I think how Happy deals with the first 5 minutes of the game is definitely something you could learn from. Just study the tier 1 phase of games, and then after you get to your Dark Ranger and you get past tier 1, then you can do your own thing until you get really comfortable with that just initial phase of the game. And you'll find if you have much better early games against Orc, and you're getting in positions where you've killed 2-3 Headhunters, where they're not allowed to get Farseer level 3 early on, where you're getting your aura and you're being the one that's aggressive and not having lost a Fiend and all your mana, the game going into tier 3 is going to go a lot easier for you, and you're actually going to have a strong enough army to be able to do a big push at tier 3 and break that tiny Great Hall. But yeah, it's a difficult matchup. What can you say? It's a difficult matchup. All right. I'm going to grab a coffee. We'll take a 2-minute break, and then we'll be back with Erodos' replay. Very cool. Who's a Night Elf player. Be right back. All right, we're back. Burr Rush, thanks for 100 bits, dude. Good to see you. And by the way, Happy Gilmore, you had a question. What's the standard orc composition here? So with Farseer Hunters against Undead, the standard orc composition at 50 supply would be, and I'm still learning this myself. This week I've been trying to figure out this matchup because I'm figuring out how to play Farseer Hunters a little bit better in the new meta. I believe it ends up being 3 heroes, so Farseer, Torn Chieftain, Shadowhunter, or Farseer, Shadowhunter, Torn Chieftain. 6 Headhunters with Berserker, ideally 3-0. Kodo with War Drums and 2 Raiders. Very simple. It actually ends up just being 1 control group, which is kind of dope. You literally just have your 50 supply all on 1 control group. Makes it quite easy, and then when you break upkeep, you can go for another Raider, more Headhunters, eventually mix in Walkers. That's your 50 supply a lot of the time. But like I said, I'm still learning it myself exactly what I like to play, and some people don't even play a 3rd hero. But I think the tri-hero's a good way to do it. Okay. So, replay number 3 is from Erodos, who is a Night Elf player. He sent a replay and said, "Hey Carson, love the TheoryCraft. I was wondering if you could take a look at this Elf versus Human GNL match. Really struggling against the early expo. Thanks in advance." Nice. GNL. What's their website? Yeah, this is a website. So if you guys are interested in GNL, I'll plug this. Why not? I'll plug this. If you're a beginner player or something like that, and you want a place to practice with evenly skilled people, they have what we call leagues. A league is like you play for a team, and if you win, you get points for your team, and if your opponent wins, he gets points for his team, and then you have like, you know, players with the teams with the highest points, they play in like the playoffs, you know. It's like a sports league. And they match you up with evenly skilled players. So if you go to this link, warcraft-gym.com, you can check it out. You could talk to them. You can get in for the next season, and they'll match you with people. You'll send them some replays, like I'm watching right now. They'll analyze the replays, be like, okay, I think he's around this skill level. They'll find an opponent around that skill level, and then you can get a little taste for competing and playing, proper series with map vetoes and best of 3s, and you have some coaches and stuff. So that's a cool place to go. Warcraft-gym.com. They also have guides on there and all that shit. So it's kind of cool. So this is a match from the GNL League. So we'll see. So human against, or Night Elf against human. We already did, of course, a replay review on Last Refuge, but this is on Concealed Hill, which is a much better keeper map. Of course, for just perfect reasons for what I was describing earlier in replay number 1. Just beautiful, elegant reasons why this is a better keeper map. Just it's a way better keeper map. So let's just jump right into it. I'm going to be echoing a lot of the same points, but we got 2 of the same matchup. What do you say? All right, let's go. So the reason why this is a better keeper map is because, and this is the creep route you guys should all do with your Keeper of the Grove on Concealed Hill. Now, you build the Ancient of War here. You can build the Moonwell here. You build the altar here. When the Keeper comes out, you've already started your Ancient of War creep with the Archer and the AOW. You summon treants from these trees. You kill the big turtle, grab the item with the Keeper, and then you run over here, grab the item from this guy. The Archer finishes off these, and you run straight down to the Expo. What do you know? You got level 2 immediately, with only about 10 seconds wasted time. And then you run down here. You can have a Wisp on this tree, and you just pressure the Humans expansion. That you, of course, the expansion's coming because you've had a Wisp scouting him the whole time. So you get essentially the quickest level 2 possible on Concealed Hill with a Keeper right away. That's why it's a good Keeper map. And you can especially do this against why'd you get timed out for the symbols? Oh, weird. You can especially do this against human. Yeah, it is you, Waze. Look at you. And I think you're going to win this game, too, so don't fret. So, Demon Hunter, and for the reasons I just explained, Demon Hunter is worse than Keeper. And also, you see, the upside of Demon Hunter is it scales good in the late game, and it's maybe a little bit easier to play overall, but it really struggles with creeping in the early game. Really struggles with creeping. So most times you'll pair Demon Hunter with very aggressive play. Because you think about it, like, what are you going to creep? You can Ancient War creep this, and then are you just going to face tank the turtles to get level 2? You're going to face tank the crabs to get level 2? Are you going to do that? You don't have treants. There's no way you're going to be able to creep the expansion. Oftentimes what a keeper will do is he'll pull the expansion, then entangle the Null Overseer over here and kill it right away. Demon Hunter doesn't have those tricks, so really you're forced to kind of just creep this camp and then run straight down and try to pressure the expansion. But what do you know? Demon Hunter's even worse at pressuring expansions than the Keeper would be. So there's a lot of downsides, especially on Concealed Hill, to playing Demon Hunter here. I'd already put you at an advantage. This is a 3-farm Expo on Concealed Hill. Mad Lad Waves. Love it. Love it. Love the 3-farm Expo. Now, let's take a gander at the game. The Keeper would be... Screw it, I'm showing you a moon replay. I'm showing you a moon replay. So we're at 240 seconds right now. We're gonna go back to this, but I'm gonna show you a moon replay really quick. Right, we're at 240. Okay, let's just take a look at what the state of the game is right now. Right, Demon Hunter's here, no chance of pressuring. A lot of damage units here, right? But there's a fountain, so it's not the end of the world. Just a 3-farm Expo, very, very greedy. Let me see if I can find a replay. All right, I'm gonna show you 240, 240. I'm just gonna download one. Changes. Alright, give me a sec here. Time may change you, but I can't change time. Okay. If I can't find a replay for this, then I'm just not going to. Okay, Moon on Concealed Hill. Yep, let's download this. And let's put it in my replay folder, and hopefully it loads. If it doesn't load, just forget I said anything, and we'll move on. If it does load, I need a PogChamp. And if it loads and then... Okay, it doesn't load. Alright, well, forget I said anything. Can't find a replay that shows it. Now, we did a whole episode on this that included this creep route. So you'll have to go and watch that episode if you want to see. If you want to see the creep route. But, do believe me, at the 2 minutes and 40 seconds mark, you would be pretty much right here with a keeper with level 2. Killing everything. You would be probably about right here on the map by 2 minutes and 40 seconds. 1,000 more. Fuck it, just do it like Moon. Yeah. Well, you know, we can't do everything like Moon, but we can copy his first 30 seconds of when his hero's out. Just the first 30 seconds. It's hard to play like Moon for, you know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, maybe 25 minutes like in this game. But the first 30 seconds... God damn it, if we practice enough, maybe we can just do it. And we don't even have to be that efficient, right? We could still do it slowly, but we'd still be level 2, and we'd still be already on the map. This creep route is so good on Concealed Hill. It's so good. It needs to be done more. And look at the damage we do. Look at the damage we do to Mr. Waves. We'd entangle this footman, we'd summon treants and kill all these peasants. We'd be owning him. We'd be owning him. But with that being said, love the greed. Love the greed, and it could be punished still, but later. Poor Mr. Waves facing Moon. Ooh, is this a one-well tack? The greedy boy. We're seeing a couple of downsides of the Demon Hunter in general, but now that we're past the early game, let's accept that we're not Moon. We did a different opening hero, we did a different opening creep route. Okay, let's see what we can do at this stage. So, Staff of Teleportation off cooldown in 1 game second. Wisp in position. Best play here. We got our level 2. We heal up at the Moonwells. Go to the shop, get a staff. Keep this Wisp alive, right? We've seen the expo. Let's keep this Wisp alive. Put it here. Staff to it. Come in. Kill some peasants. Archers being produced. Try to get 4 or 5 of those. Run down, continue pressure in the expansion. That's the best play given the situation we're in right now. Match against similar skill, they said.
A player's forces are
Not if I'm coaching. If I'm coaching, you're getting matched against Moon. Greed versus greed for sure. But in the case of the one well tech, the greed here of Erodos, I don't think it's actually good. I don't think it's good because, harkening back to the point I made earlier in the first replay, you want these Moonwells done. You want 3 Moonwells finished by now because you just want them regenerating throughout the entire nighttime. So 2 well tech, sometimes Moon on this map, this is the game I was going to show you guys, Moon does a 3 well tech with this quick level 2 creep route. So we've just got that much more Moonwell mana so that yes, your tech is delayed, but you can pressure even more because you can heal up again.
A player's forces are under attack.
But still, this is good. We should just go get the staff. The Wisp is in position that we can staff to it. The macro's looking solid. Looks like we're going to get a lot of peasant kills here because our opponent doesn't have an arcane tower. Now, if our opponent had an arcane tower seed like right here, we could maybe run them up and not lose too many. This would be a common thing, but here we're going to be able to get some nice damage done. And behind this, probably just some solid 1-base play, try to get a panda at tier 2, get up to bears quickly. So in that case, we're going to want to move this Ancient of War to this lab eventually so we can get panda level 3 as early as possible. This is good, though. This is the right play. I would think it would be more efficient with the staff. But this is solid. Ooh, TP. Oh, that wasn't necessary. Ooh, that wasn't necessary. Ooh. That's all right. We just have to remember there that there's no Dust of Appearance on our opponent, right? And we have Shadow Meld. And our Demon Hunter is actually going to be quite a bit stronger. But that's all right. That's all right. Back away. Now we can focus on getting level 3 Demon Hunter. And I think, like I said, I'll repeat. I think the best thing to do now, you get a panda, move this Ancient of War to the lab so that you can Ancient of War creep the panda. Try to get up to tier 3 very, very quickly. So yeah, you're building your 2 or 3 wisps, probably 3 here, so you have enough lumber. Get your double lures up. Go tier 3 immediately. Power creep your panda and your demon hunter together so you can get 3/3. And then once you hit tier 3 and you have about 4 bears, go for the bear bust. Go for the bear bust. Right? I think that is the best follow-up here. And given the amount of peasants you just got killed, that's totally reasonable as well. So I think that's a good follow-up here. I don't want to see no counter expo, all right? I don't want to see no counter expo. And back to the point of Demon Hunter's not a keeper, you actually can't creep this expo. Once your panda's out, you can. If you had maybe an extra archer, you could as well, but this is not gonna, this ain't gonna happen. This ain't gonna happen. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we gotta run. We gotta run, Erodos. We gotta run, my man. Oh no. Oh no. Now, the idea of creeping a camp was good. We want to get Demon level 3, but that was a little bit ambitious. It would have been more possible to creep something maybe like this, to creep something more like this, or like this, and of course, the Ancient War being here, creeping something like this. We have plenty of camps to get level 3 at. I would just say save this until both of our heroes are online, right? And also this Keeper, if we think about it as how Keeper functions in the game, right? The reason why people go Keeper as a first hero is because Keeper's very, very strong early on, right? But as soon as our opponent gets Dispel, which will be in about a minute and a half for our opponent here for waves, the Keeper is no longer useful, right? Because the aura is not good. They have all ranged units. Thor's aura only works against melee units. Treants get dispelled, and Tangle gets dispelled. So Keeper is only really, really good until about maybe the 10-minute mark in the game. And then it starts to fall off. Whereas Demon Hunter may be a little bit weak until the 10-minute mark, until you get the level 3, you get the second hero, you get the orb online, then Demon Hunter gets really strong. So these are almost in reverse order. That's why we see Keeper first, Demon Hunter second at times. But in this case, because our Demon Hunter scales so well into the late game, we want another hero that's also going to scale very well into the late game. We want the Panda. Definitely want the Panda here. You could make an argument for maybe a Naga second, but I would say Panda's just going to be way better overall here, considering our tech timing. Because similar to the first replay here, the tier 3 tech, the bear macro, is on point, right? This is more possible now that we have another Archer and another Dryad. Imagine if we had a second hero, though, as well. But still, the idea of just creeping, because often we'll see Night Elf players just continuously run at this expo. Same with Undeads. They just, oh, I gotta keep going back. Oh, I'll run away. Okay, I'll heal up and go back. And they'll go to their base and they'll fully heal up, and then they'll run all the way back and they'll lose all their mana and health and get like one peasant. It's like, you don't need to do that. After the initial harass, or maybe the 2 initial harasses, so you harass 1 time right away as soon as you hit level 2 on your Keeper in most cases. Then you go back, heal up, staff back in, and do it 1 more time. But then after that, then we kind of have to say, okay, we've done as much damage as we're going to get done. Same with Undead players, that's a common theme as well. So the idea that we're backing away now, waiting for our tier 3 and creeping, is absolutely perfect here. It's just what we're creeping, and which heroes we're creeping with, right? Okay, our opponent's going 2 barracks rifles. You son of a gun. Oh, this is solid, actually. Mr. Waves. Mr. Waves. Absolutely killing it. Bro, this is gonna be like a 10-minute... This is gonna be like a 10-minute 60 supply, isn't it? Oh my god. 3 farm expo, too strong.
Are under attack.
Blood Mage as well, too. Ooh. Ooh. Who's your coach? Who's your coach, Waves? This is unacceptable. They gotta find you like Moon or something to play against here. Unbelievable. Alright, so our tier 3 is done. Again, we're just focusing on getting 3-3, getting bears, get our orb, and then we're just gonna try to break the expansion with a strong timing. Oh. Dude, you got timed out for 10 minutes for that. Let me untime you out here. I know who you're talking about, though. Yeah, Nebulous. Yeah. I know that guy. Yeah, see, we're just not getting a lot of value out of the Keeper, right? Like what the Keeper is nice at is it can cancel the Entangle can cancel the Siphon. That's great, but just imagine the juicy level 3 Panda right now. Maybe another tower for human? I don't think so. I think it's totally fine. Oh my god. Oh, it's 10 minutes in your 60 supply. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The abandon the lab camp. He just left a couple of creeps. Oh yeah. What was the TheoryCraft stream all about? We're watching some community replays. Oh yeah, this is now I don't know if you saw my Noah's Ark push episode Waves, but what I said was the ideal situation for human: level 3 Archmage, level 2 Blood Mage, heal scroll, 65 supply, 10 minutes and 30 seconds. 10 minutes and 30 seconds. 65 supply, 4-2. All you need is a heal scroll, which you're about to have the gold for. 10 minutes and 30 seconds. God damn. God damn. Now, you don't have Adapt. Still some places to improve, but still really, really good waves. Very, very good. Really, really good. Yeah, I did a whole episode on the Noah's Ark push. That's what I called it, which is different from what you're doing to Barracks Rifles, but this is still a totally viable way to macro behind it. I just had a preference at the time, which was 2 Sanctum single racks with Workshop. I've gone away from liking Workshop against Night Elf with this sort of a style now, but okay, regardless. And what I'm also saying to you right now, Erodos, is your opponent also played a very solid game here. So losing this, I don't think is anything to be too upset about, because your opponent played very greedy, and the greed paid off, and sometimes that's how RTS games work, right? Okay, so the Bear's online. We're getting ready for our timing. But see, ideally, we want to be... See, our opponent's ready by 10.5 minutes. That's about as early as our opponent could be ready. We want to be ready to push with Panda even level 2. We're not always going to have Panda level 3. If we have Panda level 3, that's just gravy on top. But even if we have Panda level 2, we want to be pushing his expansion as soon as our Master Bears are done. So let's see when that happened this game. Let's see when that happened. Because that's when we want to be ready to go. With Orb, with 3 or 4 Bears ready to go, and with whatever level Panda we have. Right? Let's see when that happened. So our tier 3 is a little bit later. Our tier 3 could have been quicker than it was, as could our second lore have been, but still, let's just see this game at what time we could be ready by. Do we have master training now? We don't even have any bears out yet. Yeah, so the macro is a little bit fumbly-bumbly this game, but we do have master train now. Yeah, so we maybe had it about 9 minutes, 30 seconds. So we already want to be there. And if we were pushing at 9 minutes and 30 seconds, you know, we're pushing before, you know, there's a lot. This is 6 supply, 10 supply in production. So our opponent's actually at only 50 supply, and 6 of that's back at home, 8 of that's in Footman, right? We'd actually have quite a strong tier 3 against tier 1 fight, where we have Orb, and we have, most of the time you can have 3 bears by now. But if we are already at the expansion, it would actually be quite the struggle for Waves to hold on. He would have to delay, and then eventually hold. Right? So that's what should be our main focus when playing one base against this. Just hit that strong timing with a Panda and with as many bears as we can muster at this stage, and as high levels as we can get after the initial harass. But we see just, yeah, look how very, very difficult this is now, right? 75 against 53, right? Difficult. And not only that, we don't have the heroes that could maybe carry us 2 base against 1. The Panda. We have the Demon Hunter, which could do that on its own, but we need the Panda to help carry despite the economic disadvantage. You go in tier 3. Mortar teams, why not? And this is a holdable push, but it would take like it would take pretty much perfect execution to hold this push, I would say. And see, the Keeper's really not doing too much here, you see. And this, you know, this is a common way for these games to end, right? If the human gets their expansion up cleanly and they macro decently, this is not an uncommon way for a Night Elf to lose, right? And it seems like, what the hell was I supposed to do? But there's many things leading up to this, and there are many openings for the Night Elf to actually do some real damage. Made more difficult by going Demon Hunter first. With the Keeper, there's more openings to do some damage, of course. But with the Demon Hunter, it's still doable. Because look at this Demon Hunter just kind of roll everything on his own right now. He's just going from unit to unit killing everything. And that's, you know, that's how he can be the carry. Like, look at him. Look at him. But definitely, I think, a difficult game, and there were a couple obvious mistakes, right? Losing the demon to creeps. Maybe a little bit of miss macro on the bears, going with the keeper instead of the panda. Some slow tier 2 creeping, some quite obvious mistakes, right? So, you know, if you cleaned up those few mistakes, I think you would have had a serious shot in this game, and that, you know, your opponent played really, really good as well here. So having a serious shot against your opponent who's in gym going to be evenly skilled with you and played a good game, that's good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And I'd also recommend you, just like for the first person who submitted a replay, who was it? Shez, to watch the Scratching the Surface of Night Elf against Human episode, which goes in depth specifically on Concealed Hill, actually. But a lot of useful stuff in there. And if you're not comfortable playing Keeper, you could totally play Demon Hunter. I would just exclusively play one base bear bust with Demon Hunter. And then, you know, if it goes later than that, you can, of course, go for an expansion. But the difficulty of a Demon Hunter is you just can't really defend your expansion if it gets canceled time after time. All right, what was that? Replay 3? We're going to replay 4. And then, depending on how I feel after the 5 initial replays, maybe we'll do Dondos. We probably will. We're making pretty good time. It's only been 2 hours, so we're making good time. So this is... what is it? Oh, this is our first Orc replay. Ooh, goody. So this is submitted by Svibi, who's an Orc player. He's playing against a human on Northern Isles. He submitted on a replay. And his main question with what he said was... he was wondering why the person who lost in this game lost. I'll say that. Saying, you know, we didn't really... he was playing against his friend, and they were both discussing, like, why did whoever lost lose the game, right? They couldn't figure it out, because they felt like the person who loses was very, very ahead. They were getting a lot of hero kills, he said. And he just didn't know why the game ended like it ended. So let's watch it. We'll breeze through the early game. We talk about some of the key points, maybe. And then when we get to the mid-game, we'll see if we can figure out who's actually going to lose based on maybe some factors that they weren't aware of. Maybe. So here we go into Northern Isles. And, you know, we like Orc vs. Human Northern Isles on this show. You guys know that. Done quite a few replays in this matchup. And on this map. Alright, so here we go. We'll talk about from the Orc side of things, though. But we can also touch on, because I think they're friends, we'll talk about the human side of things as well. We've done 6 or 7 episodes on this matchup, so there's plenty of stuff that I've talked about that I might be echoing throughout this game. Let's check it out. Alright, so Farseer Grunt opener. Farseer Headrunner is, of course, the best way to play nowadays, but Farseer Grunt's acceptable. Acceptable. What did I mute? There we go. Should be a Farseer. It should be. If it's a Blade, we're going to get a whole lot more confused here, guys. Alright? And it's a Blade. So, Blade does happen against human at times. It does happen. Most often when you're up against a random player, right? But nowadays, people tend to just play Farseer Headrunners against random. But in the past, when it was only Farseer against human, a lot of the times you'd end up with Blade against human. And in that case, you go Shadowhunter second, and you just play Raider Walker tier 2. A lot of the times. There's not a lot of details hammered out for what you're supposed to do with the Blade. But, yeah. Well, this becomes a little bit more confusing. But we'll see what we can do. You could always watch some Cooper replays to see what he does with Blade against human. It's pretty much the only Orc that does it right now, if I can remember. But I mean, it might make a comeback eventually.
player's
Could make a
forces are under
comeback.
attack.
Crit first, creep in level 2. Nothing wrong there. But similar to how we play Farseer against Archmage, I think it's still important to play aggressively with a Blade Master against Archmage, because we don't want to allow them to get level 3 for free, because we all know how that ends. If they get level 3 for free quickly, they can pick up a Tavern Hero at tier 2 and just push us, kill all of our burrows. They can get defend on their footmen, and they can really do a lot of damage. And they can even do more damage against a Blade Master than they can against a Farseer, because Farseer is better at dealing with footman pressure with Chain Lightning. They have wolves. Right, that's why Blade Master used to always get tower rushed as well. Nowadays, there's reinforced defenses at tier 2 and plenty of other factors, but Farseer is also one of them. Why we don't get tower rushed so much. But with this crit opener, we're kind of saying, okay, we'll at least be level 2 against level 2, but then we certainly have to stop their level 3 after this.
A player's forces are under attack.
Ooh, 2 farm. Okay, 3 farm with tower. Playing it safe, I like it. So this and then 1 more green, and our opponent will be level 3. We're now level 2 with wards. There was a Peon Scout, but I think it got killed, unfortunately. Ooh, and greater mana as well. Okay, scouting the Expo first. I don't think that's unreasonable to check. But if we had lost the Archmage by now, we would have lost it for good, which is why the earlier we pressure, the better, because early on it's easy to find our opponent, because we know he's going to be like here or one of these Murlocs. So the more time we give him, the more opportunity we give our opponents to sort of get away from us and us to lose them permanently. But now that we found him, we definitely wanted to be denying his level 3 as much as we can. And given what we know this whole Murloc camp would give him level 3, but we can't, of course, know that for sure. Well, we could check the items, actually, and know that for sure. If we check the item and see these 3, we know he's got the gloves from here, he got the, got this bad boy from here, the cloak, and we got the greater mana from here. So if we just check the items, which is easier said than done, we would know this camp would give him level 3. So we really want to be last hitting, and we got plenty of windwalks to do that. Yeah, good pressuring on the Archmage. Putting damage on the Archmage, given any opportunity, is the best thing to do. Always prioritize Archmage on the damage. Damage on the Archmage over damage on the Footman or Militia. Always. Yeah, for sure, Storov. Send it in. Good, and we've successfully stopped the level 3 Archmage. We still want to deny him doing that, though, because, right, he's still got opportunity to come and kill burrows. So we want to at least, yes, we can send the Grunts back to go meet up with the soon-to-be Shadowhunter, I'd imagine. But the Blade Master, we want to stay on top of the Archmage if we can. Also, 4th Grunt, I wouldn't say too good here. I think 3 Grunts is good. 4 Grunts is going to be a bit too much, because he's probably going to play, like, if he plays Rifle Caster against Blade, that'd be a bit wacky. I would expect him to play 2 Sanctum. So getting only 3 Grunts is nice, just so you can creep quite quickly. Okay, he gets level 3, but I think we've delayed the level 3 long enough here. I think this is fine at this stage. Killing some footmen, slowing down his future, either Mountain King or Blood Mage, whatever, Panda creeping, so this is all really good. And the Grunts can now go back and meet up with the Shadowhunter and probably creep this, maybe creep this, and just start creeping. So our Blade can stay aggro here, but our Shadowhunter should start power creeping as much as we can. Do we have Raider Walker? Oh, tier 3. Tier 3 with Torrens. Interesting. Now, it's hard to say, like, obviously, Blade isn't played against humans, so it's like, I could say, oh, this isn't standard, but Blade already isn't standard. But I do think the best way to play Blade, if that's what you're searching for, against human, Raider Walker, creep Shadow level 3, and just continuously pressure. Oh, nice. I'll put up the Magi. Good. Pretty good. We're in a good position here. The only downside is we don't really have a follow-up because we're still waiting on Taurens, and Taurens are kind of still bad against human. They're still kind of bad because he's just going to go mass casters. If we were going Raider Walker here, we probably would have already won. Probably. Given what we know right now in the map. Because the cool thing about Raider Walker is before it fell out of favor, when it was still being played by Lynn and everyone, they were just doing, like, they would pull peons, they would build an aggro shop at Shadowhunter level 3 if they were in a good position, and they would just all in with 50 supply. And a shop, like, right here. They would just push the human. They would build towers, and they would just kill the human if they were in a spot as good as you. And, like, you imagine if you were building pure Raider Walker, you'd already be 50 supply, or very close to it. And you could be level 3 Shadowhunter if you were power creeping the whole time. And then you could kind of just kill him a lot of the time. Which isn't something you can do with Farseer, because you don't have Spirit Link or the sustain of the Shadowhunter. Your heroes are very squishy when you have a Farseer first, right? So... But yeah, now we're just giving a lot of space, and like, even though we're going to be tier 3 against tier 2, our Torn's really going to be our carry against Nice Lasset, our carry against the Sorks? I don't think so. Should be able to use the Hellstone, yeah.
Players' forces are under attack.
Some classic orc plays right here. I think we could turn, if we do want to continue hero focus, we could probably kill the Mountain King if we wanted. Alright, what's the follow-up here? Okay, now we're tier 3. We're still trading quite well. He lost 2 Sorks to the creeps. This is all good for us. As long as we don't lose a hero, this is all really, really good for us. Still probably in a winning position right now. Oh, lost the Walker, but we should have Master on the way. Do we have a second Walker, though? No, we don't. So we can't really get that Walker back, unfortunately. Should be able to save this with a potion. Oh, unfortunate. We're still ahead. We've still killed so many units. TC on the way. Yeah, I think the biggest issue so far for Svibi is he doesn't really have a defined army composition. He's got like 1 Berserker. He went for 4 Grunts. He got like 1 Walker and straight into Master. Like, he doesn't have a fully defined, like, what does his endgame army, what does he want it to be? Really nice slow. Whereas if he had a full-fledged plan of, this is what I want my army to be, I want it to be 2 Torns, 2 Walkers, 3 Grunts, and 2 Berserkers by the time I'm, you know, 50 supply. Then we could already have reached that, and we could have a really strong fighting army.
Players' forces are under
yeah,
attack.
this is scrappy. This is real scrappy. But I think we're still ahead. What's up, Benkei? I think we're still ahead. We're giving a lot of units up, but I think we're still ahead. Yeah, we're kind of seeing the downside of playing Blade against human, right? Like, Farseer would have just chain lightning this Archmage and gotten the kill. Okay, Blade should be dead here. Oh, the Shadowhunter's not being built either. See, this really, you know, they've been fighting so much and microing so much. The macro is really what's been slipping for these players. We see the human has 750 gold. And he gets the blade kill. But they're focused so much on the micro throughout these fights. Really, the creeping speed and the macro behind the fights hasn't been that great, right? So they've been focusing a little bit too much on the details throughout, I think. And now the human, probably with those 2 hero kills, yeah, he is ahead now, the human. But still, his army's really, really weak because the macro's been slipping. And we're still got to face the reality we're going to be up against, you know, Taurens soon.
Players' forces are under attack.
Is Shadowhunter coming back? Okay, now it is. We could always tiny here. Or we could wait for the human to expand. And then tiny. That's also quite a big advantage you have. That's nice when you're tier 3. But yeah, it's hard to say what the perfect play would be at this stage, because this is such a weird game.
A player's forces are under attack.
I do think generally, because he's already gotten Master Spirit Walkers, like if you're going to go Taurens, you should probably go all out and go 2 Tauren Totems. And then you're at least going to want 2 Walkers when you're going for Taurens. At least 2 Walkers. And you want them before you get your Taurens, obviously for the revive, for the Spirit Link, for the Dispel against the slow and all those things. But also just because if you don't have Walkers on the field, they have a 600 mana cap. You want them to be regenerating mana the whole time, right? So if you're going to go Tauren and then get a Walker, the whole time this Tauren is out is time that Walker could be regenerating mana while you're just creeping. I don't know if the human's seen the Tauren Totem yet, but he's going a lot of Sorks, so he's good. He's going for an expansion. Yeah, this is exactly what the human should be doing. It's getting an expansion and going for staying tier 2 mass casters against the Taurens. Totally fine. Level 3, these heroes are getting out of control. We have walkers.
A player's forces
Okay, we're finally getting a walker. Yeah, this is a good play from the human. Just keep pressuring. Force his opponent back, and then mine on 2 bases the whole time.
Is under siege.
Ooh, this walker should definitely be killed as well. Yeah, that's a pretty big mistake to let that walker get away. Still, I think the human's in a winning position. But he's got no TP. Oh no, he's got no TP. And we know Svibi, our good friend Svibi, likes to go for the Archmage. Is it going to be any different this time? Oh, bring that breaker up. Nice surround. The Blade Master could pop this Shadowhunter out, pass the potion and pop the Shadowhunter out. That was a possibility. That was a possibility. Oh, the blade. See, now I think you just run if you're this human. You just run away. Yeah, I think so, Glass Cannon. You just run away. The Taurens will absolutely destroy breakers if given the opportunity. Which is why you need Sorks to keep kiting. Okay, the Mountain gets away, Archmage gets away. Alright. And Orc, again, down to 2 heroes. So I assume it's the human that loses this game. Because Svibi has been the one losing a bunch of heroes. The humans only lost his Mountain King so far this game, I think. Yeah, but the human's really giving away a lot of units. That's so far a priest and a breaker. Almost 3 more breakers. Ooh, if there was a Sork here, he could be killing this. Oh my god, he might still be. Not quite. A lot of hero focus in this game. Alright, Blade's gonna die again.
Players' forces are under attack.
A lot of hero focus. See, the human's in such a good position, he could, this isn't the standard approach against Taurens, he could just go tier 3 and just get a Griffin Aviary and just go Knight Griffin. And be totally fine to close this out. But definitely needs to be macroing something. Okay, more Sorks.
Forces are under attack.
Alright. Level 5 Blade. Scary. See, the issue is we've been killing heroes, yeah, but we've been losing a lot of units for them. So if we just look at the supply now, we're down by 10 supply. And because the Orc here, if we're in the human shoes, the Orc here has been on, like, solo heroes. Oh, he's gonna lose his blade again. Because the Orc's been on solo heroes for so long, like, look, we're back to just having a Shadow Hunter. His hero levels are actually getting quite insane. Because he's just been, like, he was just solo creeping the Blade before, now he was solo creeping the Shadow Hunter, essentially, on the human's units. So now he's got crazy hero levels. And he's got Taurens, and he hasn't lost a lot of the actual units. He's just lost the heroes, kind of. And it's not really that expensive to just get your heroes back from the altar. It really isn't. If you're not losing any units, and you're killing, like, 4 Sorks and 2 Breakers and losing your Blade for it, 4 Sorks and 2 Breakers is like 1,000 gold, whereas getting your level 5 Blade back from the altar is like 300. So yeah, it sucks to lose your heroes, but like in the case of this game, the human's not really translated it into much of an advantage. Because he's been feeding so many units while getting the hero kills.
Players' forces are under attack.
And the reason why he's lost so many units is because he's simply just not had a town portal every time he's been pressuring. He could have TP'd out. You know, that time when the 4 Breakers got left behind and the 2 Priests got sniped, he could have just had a town portal and just TP'd out after killing the TC and the Shadow Hunter. Just TP out right away. You have an Expo, start creeping, get up to 70 supply, and then you're going to be 70 against 50 in no time. Also, there's lumber issues. There's been consistent lumber issues for the human as well, which there's kind of no reason for there to have been, because his peasants haven't been pressured. He hasn't lost a single peasant the whole game, in fact. I don't think. Unless off the initial harass from the Blade Master he lost any. But other than that, I don't think he's lost any peasants at all. Yeah, these Orc heroes are pretty crazy. Yeah, like, the human had enough time, if he had enough lumber, to go tier 3 behind this. He could have got Griffins, Knights. Because ideally you want a supply advantage if you're going to play casters. You want 10 supply advantage playing casters against Taurens, right? But he's lost so many units. He's lost so many units. When he fought here earlier, he lost 2 Sorks to the Creeps. When he fought here earlier, he lost a Breaker and 2 Priests to the Blade. See, now again, he's going for the surround on the TC that has a big push on vulnerability, but how many units he's going to lose in the meantime? How many units will he lose in the meantime? 2 Breakers, a Priest, right? It's hero focus over actual army positioning and just winning the straight up fight that you're capable of. See, again, going for the Blade, but how many units will we lose going for the Blade? Orc hasn't lost a single unit yet. And maybe at this stage we weren't supposed to win this fight, but this has been how it's been going the entire time. It's just been pure dive for the heroes, and yes, you get the heroes sometimes, but how many units do you give up for that?
A player's forces are under
And how many
attack.
units do you kill in exchange? Well, the answer's been 0 pretty much orc units that's gone down throughout the hero focus. Yeah, Blizzard would also be good here. But yeah, just too much hero focus. Honestly, for both sides. Hey, Ben K Music, thanks for the 2 months. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, because like what the email said was like, oh, we didn't understand. The human didn't understand how he lost because he killed so many heroes. But it's like, yes, you're killing heroes, but look also what you're losing. Like, if I were to add up and calculate it, okay, he Tavern revives his level 4 Blade Master, but he killed 2 Sorks and 3 Breakers. Who's ahead? How much experience and how much gold and lumber does that cost for both sides? And the Orc has been consistently ending up ahead on those trades. And now it's just overwhelming, obviously. And this expansion's also been uncontested, so if our lumber issue was fixed as well, we could have we could definitely have a very strong tier 3 army. This is a good positioning. Imagine Blizzard right here as well. Would be great. Yeah, and we're fighting the units now, fighting the army now, but the heroes are crazy strong. It's almost level 6 Blade. But again, I mean, this is kind of a confusing game because it's like Blade, straight Tectorans versus versus human. It's a lot of hero focus. This is a wacky game to try to say exactly what happened, but you know. Yeah, see, you killed him a lot of times, just the Blade, and just the Shadowhunter. That's all you did. All you really did was kill the heroes. All you really did was kill the heroes. But I would say, from the Orc's perspective here, even before he lost his heroes, he could have won the game through just playing Raider Walker and getting level 3 Shadowhunter ASAP, play Raider Walker, 50 supply, build an aggro shop, reinforce defense towers, just end the game. Militia, generally very good against Farseer Headhunters, are terrible against Raider Walker. They just melt to Raider Walker. That's actually a very strong push if you're ahead against human with Blade Master. You can very often just end the game. And in this situation, at like the 8-9 minute mark in this game, you could have just ran into the human's base and killed him with Raider Walker. Alright, thanks for that replay. We got 2 more. Got 2 more. We'll take 1 more break and then we'll finish up our last 2 replays. Be right back. Alright, we're back. We've watched 4 replays. We got one more that was submitted, and then one extra one at the end that was just submitted at the beginning of the stream for a match that was played like 2 hours ago. So we're going to do that. The next replay is from someone who submitted, I think, almost every time we've had one of these. So big shout out, Break, Undead player. He's going to be playing against a Night Elf on Autumn Leaves. He's around 1200 MMR. And he says, "Yo, Carson, I've been away from the game for about 3 months. Helping with my own wedding, planning, and honeymoon. Congratulations, man. And other real life stuff. This is my second ladder game since coming back today, so not crisp at all. I think I became too focused on canceling the Night Elf's Expo in this game instead of just killing units and taking care of my hero. What else can I improve on? Need to get back in shape still. 1200 MMR. Very cool, very cool, very cool. So yeah, I think Break submitted a replay, the last one, which was a couple of months ago. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. Undead versus Night Elf, a matchup that many undeads struggle in. But let's see. And then we'll watch Dondo's replay after that. And then we'll go play ladder ourselves. Maybe on my stream. Okay, let's do this. Here we go. What's up, Stars and Stripes? How's it going, man? I don't know if I said that already. Maybe I did. Alright, here's Break in the bottom left, and our opponent is Pro Types. Wow. Do you guys think he's a pro? By chance. So this is looking like Ted Fiends. I do think against Night Elf, a Ghoul opener is kind of needed, because there's a couple of reasons why ghouls are very good against Night Elf. For one, they're obviously better against a Keeper because they're less valuable than a Fiend if they do die to Entangle, and that tends to happen. But also because they're better at canceling maybe potential expansions. You said maybe you focus a lot on canceling his Expo. And thirdly, what we see Happy do a lot is get Backpack and then split creep with ghouls, small camps, and pick up the item and sell it, while harassing with just a solo Death Knight, which can slow down what's probably going to be a Keeper quite easily. Let's see if that's what this is, though. If it's a demon or a Keeper. Show me the money. There we go. Yeah, so it will be Keeper. So there's plenty of reasons why ghouls are better than fiends against Keeper. In fact, much, 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 much better than fiends early game against Keeper. And against Night Elf in general. So I think that's the first kind of big error. I would practice playing ghouls. I would try to play ghouls, even though this is a build that many undeads are comfortable with. And you can play it in every matchup. It has been played against Night Elf in the past, and it can work at times. Having a faster tech for an earlier destroyer to try to counter the Keeper, that was the old sort of idea of how to counter it. But nowadays, ghouls are needed. So the Acolyte scouts. So no real risk. We don't need to instantly harass. We can get away with creeping a bit ourselves because he's creeping a green camp. So we can probably creep our orange camp and then maybe run across. And see, the great thing about playing ghouls here would be also, say we creep this camp right away, and then we run across and harass with our Death Knight. Then we just pull our ghouls and creep this and get level 2. And maybe we can even creep this with ghouls and get level 2.7, all the while we're harassing with our Death Knight. And we probably get level 3 off the harass, and we're massively ahead, because look how little experience our opponent is getting. What's up, welcome to Iowa. Look how little experience he's getting. He's just gifting us this early game. If our Death Knight just ran straight across now, he would be stuck on level 1? He'd be stuck on level 1! And that's the advantage that ghouls would give us. Whereas now, yes, we can get level 2 ourselves, but we're going to be about even experience. Acolyte's still scouting. I love the position of the Acolyte, making sure he's not going for an expansion. He could also build it somewhere like here or here maybe, but this is the most common position.
A player's forces are under attack.
Little too much damage on the Death Knight, but that's alright. It's not the end of the world. You'll have Aura soon. See, and this first fiend comes out and helps you creep a bit, but it's almost at the stage where you kind of have to leave it in your base now. Because the Keeper might be coming across. So you might have to leave this in the base. Whereas ghouls, if you lose one ghoul to entangle, yes, it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, Ritual Dagger, making up for the little bit too much damage taken on the Death Knight. I think that's fine to do. Keeper's trying to be aggressive. I imagine the Keeper will try to expand behind this pressure. This would be a great play if that's what our opponent would do. And we should be expecting our opponent to do that. That's why you're microing the Acolyte, which is really, really good. The Acolyte moving around is beautifully done. Do that every game. Because you can even build an Acolyte if you're going to play Ghouls. But if not, do this with a Skeleton. If you're going to play without a Scout Acolyte and play Ghouls. Oh, goodbye Dustin. You can kill all these archers. Every one of them. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Get that one, too. Nicely done.
A player's forces are under attack.
And the Acolyte lives. Yeah, it's a good game so far. And the Acolyte's still getting so much information. And of course, the idea with this Fiend opener would be to get to tier 3 very, very early, so we have Destroyers instantly, so then we can get rid of the Entangle. We can be a little bit more brave with our Fiends. So I'd say, you know, maybe going tier 3 before the Slaughterhouse might even be good, but definitely waiting for our second hero, waiting for our Lich before going tier 3. Also good. So tier 3 then Slaughterhouse. Definitely creep the shop. If we have to, if we get creep jacked, creeping the shop, I think that's a risk we're willing to take. And we just sort of accept it, TP out, and get our level 3 Death Knight. Here would be good. Acolyte's still getting so much info. Look at this. Yeah, the Acolyte needs to die. That's why our Lich has not been built yet. But still got a ton of info. Now our Lich is coming up. But that's still alright, because we can just creep Death Knight level 3.
A player's forces are under attack.
Canada doesn't have a president. Do they even have a government? We have a prime minister. So this is kind of cool. So we at least cleared that the Night Elf didn't have an expansion for quite a while. He could have one being built now based on the information we have. But because in a perfect world, we're going to have like a 8-minute tier 3 tech done with Destroyer form on the way, we can actually just say, okay, you're getting an expansion, but it's quite late. So I'm just going to get my tier 3, get my orb, get my single destroyer, get Tri-Hero, and even if you've expanded, I'm going to let the expo get up, and I'm just going to go for a big push at tier 3 and just kill you. Why am I able to do that? Well, because you're expanding so late if you are expanding at all. And if you're playing one base, then great, you have a keeper. I'm going to scale better in the late game than you, and I'm just going to win regardless, one base. So that's sort of what I'd be thinking right now. I wouldn't be too worried about, you said in your description you were worried about canceling the expansion. At this stage, because the expo's so late, I wouldn't be worried about canceling the expo. I would just be more prioritizing on my macro and trying to prepare a really strong timing at tier 3. Because, like, yeah, what if he expands right now? Well, you're going to be tier 3 in 2 minutes, and his expo's not even going to have mined a cent. A single red cent. And who knows, maybe he doesn't even expand. Because he hasn't yet. He hasn't built it yet. See, like here, now we're just going to have to TP out, right? Yeah, so just being very passive would be great here. Now he's expanding. But do we have to worry about canceling it? No, we don't. No, we don't. Alright, he's actually run out of mana, so we can cancel it. That's kind of nice. A cancel for a Fiend is not the end of the world.
A town is under siege.
And let's remember also, our tier 3 could have been a whole lot earlier, too. The main thing with Undead in this matchup, even if we're playing Ghouls as well, this is true, we don't want to take a ton of losses until we're tier 3. We don't want to lose any Fiends. If we're playing Ghouls, we don't really want to lose too many Ghouls, right? We don't want to have to buy a bunch of mana pots or anything until we're, you know, getting ready for the push. We just want to play a very clean game. If we can cancel our expo, that's great, but more importantly, just don't take any losses, creep up, and hit a strong tier 3 timing is what's going to kill most Night Elf players. And in this case, if you had just not been over aggressive there, just backed up and crept your shop, then maybe pulled this and crept this, maybe you can even sneak out the Merc camp, all the while waiting for tier 3, scouting with skeletons for sure, making sure you know the timing of the expansion, making sure you know the tech like you were doing with the Acolyte previously. But then you just get your Destroyer form, and you just go across the map. But now we've lost our Lich, we've lost a Fiend, we had to rebuy the TP. Right, we're gonna be behind on gold. We're not gonna be able to afford a 3rd hero at tier 3. We're not gonna be able to maybe even afford our orb. No, in fact, we can't. See, we're worried a lot about an expansion that was already quite late. And if we had our 4th Fiend, if we had a 3rd hero right now, if we had our orb right now, would he be able to defend this expansion? Because, yeah, this might be, let's say our timing would be 20 seconds from now, as opposed to right now. Okay, 20 seconds from now, what's he going to have? He could have 2 more Dryads. He could have maybe level 2, level 3, but we're going to have a Destroyer. So what's his army going to be if we add those 2 Dryads? It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 Dryads, an Archer, level 2 Demon Hunter. We're going to have Tri-Hero, either a Tinker or a Naga. We're going to have a Destroyer, we're going to have Orb, and we're going to have Death Knight level 3 because we already crept earlier. Is he going to be able to hold? No, this expansion is going to be dead. So we don't need to care about canceling it. It's not a big deal to cancel it. We can just kill it with the timing. But now we're going to have to TP out. Maybe. Maybe not. Like, look how strong we are, even though we're missing so many things. We don't have a Destro, Orb, Tri-Hero, even a Statue. And we still can almost win this fight, but we're going to lose the Lich again.
The player's forces are under attack.
That's the beautiful thing about Undead when you're not playing like a Foggy or a Moon or something, or in other matchups you're not playing like, or maybe against Orc it's a bit different, but against Human and against Night Elf, and sometimes even in Mirror, you can just macro very cleanly, get to your tier 3, get that really strong Deathball 50 supply army, and then, especially against Night Elf, you can just push and win a lot of the time. Because that army is so strong right at tier 3, and a lot of Night Elves are going to struggle to hold that timing. But see, now we've traded 3 Fiends, 2 TPs, 2 Lich Deaths, just for 2 expansion cancels. Right? Whereas we would have already been canceling this expansion just with a 50 supply very strong army. Yeah, and that's definitely how we lose this game. Definitely. I think you were bang on with your description as to why you lost. But just focus way more on just, I want to get my strong army. And then after I get that strong army, what you do is, you might make a mistake and lose with that strong army still, but at least you're going to have one really good fight in you. There's no reason to go across the map like this, especially with Fiends. If you do want to play aggro like this, Ghouls would be a lot better for this sort of play. Because if you're losing 3-4 Ghouls, that's a lot better than losing 3-4 Fiends. A whole lot better. A whole lot better. So now we got Orb, but our army's not that scary. I was under you're supposed to have mana pot when you reach tier 2, especially when any play DH. Don't know about when you reach tier 2. When you reach tier 3, sure. Yeah, this is also the 3rd TP repurchase, right? And even if we get this cancel, we've spent so many resources on canceling these, it's even been worth it. He's been profiting off of us going for this Expo cancel. His army's just going to be stronger, even if we get the cancel time after time. Yeah, we definitely don't have to be that worried about the Expo, because we have to remember we're trading the Expo for tech advantage, not any longer, but that's the trade-off we make. We trade he gets his Expo up, but we get tier 3 versus tier 2 and ideally hero levels, right? That's the trade. So it's not as though cancel the Expo or lose the game. Yeah, the tree went down. The tree went down. So we've gotten 3 expo cancels, but we've lost our Lich 3 times, 3 TPs, and 5 Fiends now. That's the counter. That's what it's at. And yeah, this is simply unwinnable at this stage, unfortunately.
A player's forces are under attack.
I think the macro was good though. The scouting with the Acolyte was perfect in the early game. Just need to lose it a bit earlier so you can get that second hero up. You know, the tier 3 was pretty much on time. It could have been a touch quicker. But like if you had just crept passively, got your army up, and macroed as well as you had been throughout the game, but without losing units macroing as well as you have been, you would have just killed this guy. You would have crushed him. Absolutely destroyed him. Like still, you could probably win a fight. After losing so much. If you pick up a 3rd hero right now, you could absolutely still win a fight. But you don't have a Destro currently to save your Lich. But look, you're still owning him. And you've lost 5 Fiends. Incredible. But unfortunately, the Destro was not online. Oh, you got the slow off. If the statues were healing this whole time, the Lich probably would have lived, but yeah. Unfortunate.
Players' forces are under attack.
And obviously, it's worth saying that when you're playing this style and you're going tier 3 very early, your main priority should be, I need to get a single destroyer out as early as possible. So as soon as you have destroyer for him, you know, you obviously want 2 statues. You want one on mana, one on healing at all times, but you also really want to get a destroyer because everything that has been getting entangled and killed would have been saved if you just got a destroyer right away. That should be your main priority. Should be orb, getting a single destroyer, and getting a 3rd hero once you hit tier 3. You might only have 3 Fiends and have all those things, but having those things is more important than getting a 4th or a 5th Fiend. And yeah, this will be GG very soon. He's just sticking to Dryads. He's tier 3 now. He can get his orb. Yeah. His demon's level 3. And the Expo's about to be mining. But look, you know, Expo's still only starting mine now. Dum, dum. Dum 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 dum, and GG. So thanks for the submission break. Hope you get back in the swing of things, but enjoy your real life stuff. Until then, and maybe I'll see you next month for another replay. Cool. All right, one last bonus replay. All right, one last bonus replay, number 6 for the day, from Mr. Dondolare, Mr. Dondolare, who just played this series. He just played a best of 3. He won 2-1, but I assume this is a game where he lost. This is human versus night elf. Let's see what we can figure out here. Let's see why you lost. Let's see why you lost. Unbelievable. This is what's your MMR, Dondo? Are you like 1800? What's your MMR? 1700, 1800? 3K? What's your MMR? Look like Exler was out of shape in that replay. Absolutely. 1675. Okay, and I assume Haster's around the same as well. Okay, yes, this is around 1600, 1700 MMR. Human versus elf. This was just played very recently. And what do you know? We've been talking about this matchup a lot, and this is a little slightly higher level than the other replays that we watched, you know, because I think the other replays, you know, I think we had one that was like 1200 MMR and one that was like 14 or 1500 MMR. So this is one step up from there. So we'll take everything we were talking about in replay 1 and 3 of the day, and we'll see if these players, one, do anything a little bit better. And also this is from the humans side of things. So here we go. Last replay of the day. So here's Dondo in the bottom left. And here's Haster. Again, this is from GNL. What we were talking about earlier on Concealed Hill. Now, Haster's not doing the altar positioning, so still, it doesn't matter how high you go up. Night Elves still don't do the proper creep route on this map. What's up, more drugs, less war? They still don't do the creep route. Even though it's objectively good against human. Objectively the best against human. There are other matchups where it might be bad, but come on, Night Elves. Do that creep route. What are you doing? So Concealed Hill is a difficult map for human. It is very execution-based for the first 5 minutes, but there is sort of a clear-cut way to get your expo that's been shown to us by the Korean humans. But we'll see when we get there. Smarten up, Night Elves. Yeah, exactly. I hear ya. And obviously, if I had seen the whole series here, this whole best of 3, I maybe could have caught up on some themes, some consistent things that Dondolare likes to do, and maybe some places where he differs from maybe, you know, my philosophy on the matchup. But we'll see what I could pick up from the one replay. And also, I'll point out some stuff that Haster's doing that we were talking about, you know, maybe the other Night Elves from today could have done as well. Note the Wisp. Wants to see where the Archmage goes. Will he creep this first? Will he creep this first? Does he do the 3-farm immediate expansion? Note the Wisp is going to see if he does that, and then Haster can be much more aggressive against it. See, look how active the Wisp is being. Very nice, very nice. And then take this the next step further. Imagine how active Moon's Wisp is. Imagine the amount of information Moon is gaining from his Wisps. It's infinite, the amount of stuff you can do with just these small little details that can help your early game. Footman also seeing it. This is all good. Probably smiling the Keeper's not going to be level 2 for free. See, he's doing now the green camp, but he could have already been done the green camp. You see? You see? You see, friends? Okay, 4th farm in the back. All is good. All is good. Why do you keep referring to Moon? Because Moon's the greatest player of all time. It's the benchmark. It's the benchmark. So I kind of like this. This is like a reactionary fast expansion, right? Am I understanding this correct? So you scout with the Footman that he's going to the top green. It's happy. Oh god, bad take. Yeah. So this is a reactionary. So if he was running straight down, of course, you would have crept the turtles, waited for nighttime, then done the 9 militia expansion while pressuring the Wisp with the Archmage and the Footman up here, leave the water elemental down, the standard. But because you saw him at the green, you just call militia right away. I think this is great. I think this is beauty. I think this is beauty, beauty, beauty.
Forces are under attack.
With that being said, it's difficult to creep this in daytime, but still this is alright. Just focus on getting denies here, kill the treants right away. And then obviously power build an Arcane ASAP. So what Todd would say right now is you want to move this Archmage close so you can get denies easily. That's what Todd would be saying. Which I would agree with. I'd say you could position this Archmage here, but you're putting damage on it. You're killing the treants with the Footman, putting damage on the Keeper. No real issues. No real issues, right? And you've already called the militia that you from the peasants you're gonna lose. This is all perfect so far. This is all perfect. Yeah, no real reason for you to be behind after the start of the game. This is good. You didn't even lose the Footman. You can go heal them up. Yeah, you even send them. Yeah, this is all really, really good. This is all very good. All very, very good. Oh, let's go back. See, what might be the first issue is the peasant macro behind this. That might have been the first issue.
Forces are under siege.
He did forget peasants for quite a while here. Could have maybe done a little bit better in that regard.
A player's
A little
forces
bit
are
better.
under attack.
A little bit better, because you could have maybe 2 more peasants on lumber. You could have an extra footman out by now. But still, the defense was good. 2 peasants lost. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, you're definitely ahead here. You're definitely ahead here. Now, the Keeper can either come right back in and try and do more damage, or he could be creeping level 3. Those are both options.
A town is under siege.
Not the best Arcane Tower positioning, I will say.
A player's forces are under attack.
Alright, Keeper coming back in. Subscription, how you doing, man? Treant's gonna be here. Oh, that's a bad position, Treant. Nice farm. This is all super sick. This is all super sick. All slick and sick. You even got the dust. Big fan of everything going on right now. And he's going for... He would have already expoed, I think.
Player's forces are under attack.
Nice knife. Yeah, we ideally want to be teching in like 30 seconds right now, if we can. You're scouting for the APs. That's good. Yeah, if we could be teching in 30 seconds, we'd be in a terrific position. Yep, I think the first big mistake, actually, just like strategically, is getting defend before you're teching. I think. We really want to get the tech as early as possible and then get defend immediately after. And there's no real threat of the archers at this stage, I would say. I'd say that's the first sort of cognitive mistake, you know, because it'd be like a mechanical mistake that's like, whoops, whatever, you know. I forget to build a peasant, whoopsie doozy. But this is like something that you did consciously, and I think that's a mistake. Sometimes we won't even see players socket Chemika. We won't even see them get defend. We'll literally just see them feed footmen into the Night Elf over and over again. Just keep running footmen. Like when I did the episode on Macro 2 base against Night Elf, I counted the amount of footmen produced and lost in both Chemikos and Sox games. They would build 12 to 15 footmen and lose about 10 of them before they hit tier 2. They would just feed footmen, literally 15 footmen, and they still have enough gold to go up to 65 supply with a heal scroll at tier 2. Easily. 15 footmen. I don't think it's a too big of a problem to skip the defend, even entirely, but definitely you can delay it quite a bit, and just worry about continuously pumping out footmen. Because once you run out of footmen, you run out of gas, you run out of pressure ability, but if you're losing footmen, you're feeding a keeper. Who cares? You're feeding a keeper. It doesn't matter. Keeper could be level 3, could be level 4, could be level 5. I don't care. Yes, that's true, Armin. Ah, I see. Yeah, just a brain fart. For sure, for sure, for sure. It's good. You're going to get a lore cancel. Or at least force Wisp detonates. Nice deny. Pretty sick. Pretty sick and slick, I would say. So the tech's going to be done at about... Tech's going to be done around 10 minutes. 9 minutes, 40 seconds or something. And he's going to go for Bear Bust. Yeah, the best play here probably just to keep running at him and not allow the panda to creep. Because at this stage, I think it's safe to assume if you have cleared this and you've seen the panda. That's what's weird. Oh, he's not. Because what I would be assuming here, I would double check the expo, but seeing the tier 3 tech that you just saw timing and seeing the panda, I would be preparing for a bear bust. So I think it's totally reasonable that you're building an extra tower here. Like I'd maybe even build, you know, probably maybe have 3 towers total here. Given the information you have, like double arcane and a guard, I don't think that's an overcommitment based on what you know at this stage. But yeah, just running straight at him again, I think there's no problem. Just run at him again here, for sure. Yeah, 2 farms in the front of the hall would be great as well. Yeah, like that. That'd be totally fine.
Forces are under
totally
attack.
fine, totally fine. Oh yeah, so you do go 3 towers. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, that's great. No problems there. And 2 barracks. See, I'm personally not a fan of 2 barracks. I know there are a lot of humans that are, so I never call it bad, 2 barracks. And, you know, obviously the top humans also do it, but I really just think single barracks, 2 sanctum is better. I think it's just better. And you just go, like, you just keep pumping rifles, you immediately get 2 priests, 2 sorks, and then you just mass breakers after 2 priests, 2 sorks. And, you know, I used to like the workshop as well with that, but after seeing all the top games, I think workshop maybe not necessary. Yeah, creeping 4 is alright, but also you're giving him 3 and doing that, right? Tech was late, so 1 more units was preparing for the bus. Cool, yeah. Yeah, because this panda's gonna tear you up. Rifles are kind of rough there. And Blood Mage is good. You can also go your own panda here, I think wouldn't be bad.
A player's forces are under attack.
But Blood Mage is still the standard. The good. Wait, does he do the Night Elf mirror thing? He might do it. Is that what he's doing? This slick son of a gun. He might be. Oh, he's doing it. Very cool, very cool. So... interesting. It's not very good IMO, but it threw me off. Yeah, I 100% agree. Interesting. Yeah, because you're afraid of the bear bust, rightfully so. He showed straight tier 3 tech, no counter expo, panda second. He didn't do great damage, though. He didn't do great damage to the expo. If he had done more damage, then I think, you know, being this scared would be warranted. But yeah, this is tough, man. This is a tough position. Given that you guys are also probably pretty close in skill as well, I would guess. I mean, the series went 2-1 and you guys were matched against each other. This is tough. Because you can't just like outskill him when you've overproduced towers and you've gone into a lot of rifles. You don't have any breakers. You know, this is tough. But yeah, what he did, to explain to everyone, so he sort of faked the breaker or the bear bust, and then he goes into an expansion right when the bear bust would probably be hitting. Yeah, this is exactly when the bear bust would be hitting. Maybe even about 30 seconds earlier, he just goes for an expansion instead of bear busting. So Dondolare is playing very defensive, thinking, okay, he's coming. I'm gonna build towers. I'm gonna get an army. I'm gonna go lots of rifles to prepare early on, and then he just puts up an expo and never pushes. And it's like, oh my god, how am I supposed to know what you're going to do? And there's a similar dynamic when you play Priestess of the Moon in Night Elf Mirror against an opponent playing Demon Hunter. This is what Moon did for a while. he would build mass huntresses as though he was going to all in. And the standard timing to all in is when the dotted day hits and you buy the heal scroll, then you push with Ancient Protectors and double glaive throwers. Now, instead of pushing at that timing, Moon would expand slightly before that timing so that his opponents would be camping in their base with archers. They'd have an AP building. They'd get like a tinker second, just getting ready to defend this all in. But what do you know? Moon in the back just builds an expo. And that's pretty much exactly what Haster does here. And yeah, just scouting, I guess you say. But maybe just scouting, and I honestly think you gave him too much space as well. I think, like when I said earlier, when you're healing up here and then you decide to creep level 4 Archmage, it's not a terrible decision. But I think if you were just sort of running at him and pressuring him and stopping him from creeping, you would have had a better idea of what his sort of plan was. Like, is he running past you to go to your expo? You know, is he trying to clear his expo? Is he trying to get Panda 3? What is he doing? Because if you can survive to about, you know, the 11.5, 12-minute mark before the Panda's at your expo, you're pretty much safe. So I'd say being more aggressive on him with your footman early on would have probably helped a bit. But still, we still have some game to play here. We still have a lot of game to play here, actually. Level 4 AM is less valuable than him creeping at level 1 Panda. Probably.
A player's forces are under attack.
Probably. Yeah, I agree on that. Last map, third map, I was in his face a lot longer, did the same strat and won very easily. Yeah, I think just the super uber aggression. And remember, you don't have to worry if you're losing. What you don't want to lose is rifles, right? What you don't want to lose is heroes. But, you know, losing footmen, you can lose 12, 13 footmen. It sounds ridiculous, but you can. You really can. And you wouldn't have even lost that many because he was on level 2 keeper for so long this game. Yeah, now you got 2 sanctums. Okay, that's a good transition. Getting the 2 sanctums up, you can get the wall of breakers. Yeah, he gets Khadgars as well. Panda 3. You still have a strong timing, but the issue is you got a heal scroll as well. He has 1, 2, I think, right? The issue is, of course, you're on rifles, though. Just feed footmen forehead? No, literally, just run at them with footmen. Actually. I did a whole episode on it. That's truly what the top humans do. Think I could go tower push here and even still win? Probably, but I think there's always a chance he, like, if he's patient enough and he breaks as soon as you push, I think he's got a really good shot of holding. No problem. All he's got to do is just break with 2 bears, use his moonwells and his staff well. I don't think... Like, I think if he's the defensive one, it's going to be difficult. With him being the aggressive one, he can get caught out like he is right now and lose a ton. No problem. And behind this, yeah. So you go 2-2 casters, and then, see, what I like to do a macro side with my sanctums to just make it easy, I just queue up 2 priests here and adept. The priests take 30 seconds, the adept takes 60 seconds, and then you have 2 priests and your adept done at the same time. And then you can just go 2 Sorks in and a Mass Breakers. I'm going to let my cat in 1 sec. That's the way I like to do it, because like having adept here would be really nice. But yeah, I do like the follow-up, like the time, like when you're going breakers. That's what I should say. Come on, kitty, get in here. Come on, get in here. All right, let's see. So you're winning this fight, so this actually isn't going too poorly. Kitty. Yep. Come on down here, partner. Oh, nice micro from him there. Yeah, I think if you chase him to the X... Is this what you're talking about? You maybe could have just pushed here? Or do you mean push him before? Because, like, here I think you could also still push. As long as you don't let him get to the fountain. I think this is great still for you. This is alright. But again, he just breaks upkeep with 2 bears, and he's going to be able to heal up in no time. Yeah, I think you could still... I think you could actually literally go right now. Run at him. This is tempting, right? This is very tempting. Just like before, creeping the level 4 Archmage when you TP'd out initially was tempting as well. But I still think aggression is the play. Because you gotta follow up the fact that his panda's out of mana, his bears were all, you know, hurt. I think. And also, you can, if you go aggressive on him again, if you were to have chased him the whole time, you can probably steal his heal scrolls. You could probably steal those. It's so tempting to get level 3 Blood Mage, though. It's so tempting here. Yeah, that expo timing was very whack. Flame Strike 2 over Siphon 2? Yeah, I would generally always go Siphon 2, but again, they're both played. I think, in fact, even Flame Strike 2 is played more commonly by the top humans. Oh yeah, this positioning's rough as well. When the positioning gets messy at all, it just favors the Night Elf a ton. Oh, didn't you get a greater heal? Oh, you had one. Rip. Yeah, now this is tough. It's very, very tough. I don't think, like, this warrants you need to go tier 3 or anything. I think you just need to try to get more breakers up and get another heal scroll, get the Blood Mage back.
A player's forces are under
and then try to get, like, the remainder of this or something. There's only a couple camps left, so it becomes difficult here. But I don't think there needs to be a huge overcommitment. Yeah, that fight was just rough. It was unfortunate you got caught out before you got to the shop. Yeah, what are the upgrades on the breakers as well? I'd say upgrades on the breakers even more important than upgrades on the rifles. Like getting 1-1, getting 2-2 on these bad boys, which you're getting 2-0. Really, really nice. Especially the armor upgrades, because a lot of the damage is coming from the feedback anyway on the bears. Yeah, now he gets to the fountain as well. Tough. It's just, yeah, the momentum just not in your favor. Ever since, like, the initial TP and the creep to level 4, he sort of had all the momentum. And all, like, the... He always had, like, the head start on you in a way. In positioning in fights. Well, 1-1's better because it takes less time. I don't know if the cost necessarily matters. This game ended up being very, very close, so yeah, I think you're making the right call by staying on tier 2. I think a lot of humans would panic and go tier 3 and be like, oh, I need frag shards, I need to get inner fire. But yeah, just staying tier 2 and just focusing on that big wall of breakers that you're getting with nice upgrades, that's what's going to win you the game for sure. Or that's what could potentially win you the game. It's not going to win you this game, but... Would you consider switching to Blizzard 3 at this point? Maybe. Maybe. It's tough, though. You're kiting so much. I don't know how good Blizzard is always. And you never have enough sorceresses, really, to make the Blizzard have enough value by the time you're forced to back away. And the Keeper just cancels it over and over again. Blizzard becomes a little more rough. But I think it's definitely something to think about. Don't think the Blood Mage usage has been perfect here with the siphons, and that's really the main thing to be focusing on, I feel like. But his Panda positioning was good. Hey, you're actually getting a lot of kills at the tail end of this fight. Wow. pretty sick. Somehow he's still 73. He's just macroing like a mad lad behind this, I think is the main thing. He's just macroing like a crazy man. That's still pretty good. Okay, now you're going tier 3, which is probably fair. Because that was like your one big fight on tier 2 with the Wall of Breakers. And still, I don't think there's much you could do at this stage, though, unfortunately. He's just one fight after fight after fight. The Panda's 5. Panda's probably... Oh, no, it's only level 5, but... Maybe like one more heal scroll could have helped there, but it's tough. A little bit better siphon usage overall could have helped. And that actually was quite a winnable fight, given all those things, but still. Tricky, 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 tricky. Yeah, I don't know what exactly you get off tier 3, though, now that I'm thinking about it. Would it be better just to stay tier 2 and just try to do the same sort of fight again? I don't know. Siphon 2 would have helped a lot, I think. I agree, for sure. Because, you know, the amount of mana you get from Siphon 2, you almost get more damage from the amount of Flame Strikes you're able to do. Yeah, Mortars and Frag Shards, yeah, that's pretty much the main thing, right? Like, Master's fine, but I don't know if it gives a ton. Staff is alright. Orb is alright, but... Yeah, the one downside of not going Mortar teams on tier 2 is there's always potential if you go for like the 1 Barracks 2 Sanctum workshop play that you can, if he's out of position, you have triple Mortar teams, you can just kill his Expo and then TP out. You don't actually have to take the fight directly. You could be a little bit more lame, which is nice with Mortars, but they're in a direct fight in the sort of mid game, they're a bit annoying. One Flying Machine? Yeah, I do like One Flying Machine as well, immediately off the workshop, but I don't know if it's going to make or break this game. I don't think it's going to do much of anything at this stage. Jesus, he's got a Mountain Giant. This is gonna be tough. I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Chimera Roost go up. Just because. It was a decent fight though. It definitely makes sense looking at this how you're able to win 2-1 after this. Yeah, I don't know if the Pally is great. I don't know. It's another one of those things that's like tempting to get. I suppose it's nice to like keep the Blood Mage alive for a little bit longer, siphoning, but still, again, not much is going to be enough to win this. It would take like him having a horrible engagement to lose this game, which is possible. That's what you got to hope for. Take an absolutely horrible engagement. And the issue also becomes one more bad fight, and level 6 on either of these heroes is crazy strong. I mean, how many frag... You're going to have 4 Frag Shard Mortar teams? Okay, 3. Not bad. Like, this is the positioning you want, obviously. You want him to fight into this, and then maybe there's a shot.
A player's forces are under
80
attack.
versus 90. Possibilities there. Still kind of possible. Okay, there's the retrain. There's so much shit now that I think Blizzard could actually be nice in the chaos.
A player's forces are under attack. The town is under siege.
Third hotkey, no! Not a terrible positioning. Bears are quite out of position. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Just the panda, man. Just the panda. Look at this. Oh my god. Oh, the bears. Oh, the bears. Nice TP from him. He came, he got some value. Lost a whole lot, but important TP. Jesus. You're really making this close, aren't you? But what are the heroes at? On their way to 6-6. And no heal scrolls left. That's the real rough part. You trade units for heal scrolls. Oh. That's rough. Yeah, the panda's just tearing you up. And that's not even the end of it. Watch this. Oh my god, the panda. Please don't do it, panda. Oh my sweet Jesus. Oh lord. Yeah, like this fight down here seemed like it was really one-sided, right? You lost 10 supply for 25, but if there's no heal scrolls, this panda's gonna tear you up. Yeah, nice game though. That was actually a very, very solid game. You seem to really know what you're doing in that matchup. That's pretty sick. That's tough though. That's a real tough question about what do you do if they fake the bear bust and just expand. I think just more aggression is honestly the solution. You want level 3 Archmage, obviously. You don't want to be aggressive once you hit tier 2 and once you actually are getting rifles out and stuff. Obviously, you don't want to have to be losing rifles. Once you're macroing up, you want to wait until you're at that 65 supply with level 2 Blood Mage heal scroll and then go. But until you're at that stage where you're macroing and you have your second hero out and stuff, just keep running at him with Footman. Did well until I didn't. Yeah, just a couple of bad fights, right? Does Hitman win DreamHack? Yes, no. I don't think he's going to win the whole thing. Does he win some games? He's going to win some games. He's going to break some heads. For sure. All right. Well, I said it'd be a longer episode. We did 3.5 hours. Are there any questions before we finish up? Oh, and then I might play some ladder after I get something to eat. That was fun. So next week we'll be doing Undead Day. Hopefully I can do some, find some replays, is what I was trying to say. Hopefully I can find some replays. Will you stream ladder games? Yeah, I'll stream ladder games a little bit later on my stream. Yeah, I'll have to find something to do for Undead Day. God knows what I'm going to do. No clue. But we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out, right? We always do. We always find something. Thank you, Molten Mike. But yeah, appreciate everyone who submitted replays. You can submit them right now if you want for next month. And yeah, Carson back to Warcraft.com, or you can join our Discord and use the TheoryCraft channel. Also, shout out to the sponsor of the stream, CORSAIR. You can use the coupon code BACK2WARCRAFT, same name as the channel up there, for 10% off. They do mice, headsets, keyboard, mouse pads, monitors, cameras, lights, microphones, mic stands, green screens. Everything you need for streaming and gaming, they do it. So you can use the command in the chat, !CORSAIR, and then you can use the coupon code. 10% off. 10% off. Some of that stuff's pretty expensive too. 10% off that's a big chunk of change. So shout out to CORSAIR, and also shout out to our patrons. Dondo being one of them, of course. But Patreon in the chat, you can check it out. All those cool things are on there. Woo! And you get a shout out at the end of the stream if you're one of our patrons. So shout out to the 500 euro Golden Goat patron. Knubbie as always, the 50 euro Midas tier patrons. Toxie, Dondo, Grinchy, J Gats, Scription, Circato, and Teggy in the 25 euro Profit tier patrons. Armid VB, Burning Blades, and KMS 3D. Where do I submit a replay, please? Yeah, absolutely. You can just email me right here. This one. Or you can just join the Back to Warcraft Discord. Carson, do you do TheoryCraft and 4v4 games? No, because there's not really a standard meta for 4v4 games, and that tends to be my template. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's where you can submit replays. You can email me, or you can just join our Discord. Okay, well, I'll raid someone right now. You guys can watch some more Warcraft, and then maybe I'll turn my stream on in like an hour or so. I might fall asleep, but, you know, maybe about an hour, hour and a half, I'll play some ladder for the night. Should be fun, should be fun. Okay, so you guys have yourself a good day, good night, good evening, good morning, whatever the hell. And I'll see you guys on Monday for my next cast. But tomorrow, ESL Meister Chef Grand Finals, so make sure to check that out. Okay, bye-bye.